Alright, hello everyone, and welcome. My name is Speedy, welcome NotSoSpeedRuns. We're here with 6 and 20 Metropolis in the City of Mist. Welcome, it's so good to see all you wonderful faces here again as we return. Previously, Team Esper got up to some pretty dubious dealings, learned quite a bit about each other and the world, so I'm excited to get back into things. But as we get started here, let's go ahead and go around to our wonderful cast and ask them how they're feeling tonight and who they're playing. Starting, as we always do, with Metamancer.
Hi guys, Metamancer, aka Morrigan. I'm excited about tonight because shit just hit the fan for us story-wise. Not just like between us individuals, but the actual like main plot line for us, which is really exciting. I'm very curious to see how our progress or lack of progress will work itself out this week. And other than that, you guys can just say hi and chat and stuff. Yep.
Hi, chat.
Unless you're watching YouTube, in which case,
Yeah.
you know.
Then make sure you guys get here for
Then
live
that's
show.
when you like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, plug it.
Click that little bell, since apparently we're supposed to say that now.
Yeah, that's
There's
the
a
latest
bell?
thing that YouTubers do now.
Oh dear.
Are we
because of the way the
properly trained ninjas?
So I haven't figured out how to YouTube properly yet. I'm still learning. I'm in my infancy stages, so I'm new. But when it comes to YouTube,
It's fine. So are we, really. We've only just been updating, but you know, that's a good transition to say. Make sure you subscribe both on the YouTube for this channel, NotSoSpeedRuns, and also 6 and 20 on YouTube, where we have a playlist that includes all of the shows, as well as Beyond the Mist. Speaking of, well, no, not speaking of Beyond the Mist yet. Calvin, Trendane.
Yes. Yeah, I'm Calvin. Apparently, I just woke up a little bit ago, so I'm still kind of stretchy. Not that makes me sound like dough, but anyway, I'm becoming a pasta. So I'm playing. My name is not reset. I am Trend Sparks, a professional. Wow, I know what will reset me. This particular ball.
Cocaine.
Well, close. This particular balm is made with pot. So, oh yes, that's much better. Okay, so my name is Trent Sparks. I'm a professional voice actor, and I am playing a very angry satyr named Calvin Gannicus. And I cannot for the life of me remember where he is or what he's doing. So he's
Talking to Harold.
Probably. No, apparently not, according to some guy who thinks he knows what's going on in this world. Yeah, and we'll see where that goes, because he is very disenchanted, whatever, with the group, and just he's his give a fuck is broke all to hell. So yeah, McLoken.
Yeah, speaking of Beyond the Mist now, McLoken.
Oh yes.
Hello. My name's McLoken. That was the wrong time to put food in my mouth.
Maybe.
I think that's the perfect time to put foot in your mouth for describing your character, so.
Welcome. I'm playing Johnny today. Johnny is a big, strong boy who is a man. And he's always been a man. And that's
Strapping
a lie.
lad.
He's a strapping young lad. I'm playing Johnny today. Johnny sounds like this. He's like, hi, guys. And he is very much at ends making atonement for what he did against Mr. Gallows, which was Trixie. So this will be very interesting today because he has to track down Calvin. And I had all week to think about this, but this week has literally been super busy for me. So I have not had time to think about it. So let's see what I pull out of my ass today.
I won't pry any further. Nope. Trend's got same thing. Nope. All right, and I'm Speedy, and I'm playing as Giovanni, the bartender Rift, who's been trying to somehow keep this group together a little bit, as much as he can, despite the fact that everyone sort of has their own motives and own set of morals that really strongly conflict with one another. And I'm excited to see how and if we can kind of storm and reform to continue this investigation. And before I turn things over to our wonderful GM, let me just make a few other quick announcements. First of all, we had our giveaway announced yesterday over on Unmade Gaming's channel. We had the winner announced. It was Kiana S. Congratulations. And thank you to all of those of you who entered. If you missed out on entering that giveaway, you can still buy a copy of the book from the City of Mist website. There's a link in chat. You can use our coupon code 6and20fan to get $5 off of that and help support the show. Super appreciated if you guys do that, and super worth it to get a copy of that book. So absolutely check it out.
I just looked around for my book and I realized I don't have it right now.
That's right. You could go and get it, but then your cat would find you.
Oh.
He would. Actually, I went to the bathroom like a second ago. I think he's mad at us because he didn't run up to the door.
Whose fault is that?
Yeah, who did you do? What did you do to piss off a cat?
Well,
I didn't let him into the room so he could fuck with me.
So now he doesn't want to come into the room because you didn't let him.
Yeah, he's spiting you now.
He's pouting in the other room somewhere.
man, I should have looked for the City of Mist rulebook while we were at the comic book store last week.
Would that be Isle of Gamers?
No, Game
Or Game Castle? Yeah, they don't have it yet.
Okay, oh, thank you. I still should have looked.
They don't have it yet. Anyways.
Also, as I mentioned before, make sure you go follow the 6and20 YouTube, where you can watch Beyond the Mist, as well as follow the playlist, where we have all of the crews, because this is a collaborative thing. Tuesdays on VideoStoreCowboy, Wednesdays on Unmade Gaming, and Thursdays here on NotSoSpeedRuns. So make sure you get all of those. Other than that, are there any other announcements that I'm forgetting about before I turn things over to Johnny?
You're not at PAX.
No, that says Speedy Snot at PAX.
Oh, okay.
Wait. Who did that?
PAX.
I just saw that. I also read that as Speedy Snot. There's someone in chat as Speedy's not at PAX. Who is this? I'm in Boston. I'll be there tomorrow. I had classes today. I'm busy doing this stuff right now. I will be there tomorrow. So those of you who are going to PAX this weekend and want to hang out, meet up, or whatever, shoot me a DM, and we'll try and meet up.
That DM? Wanted to shoot?
Yeah,
DM?
yeah. Just hit that DM
Yes.
for me.
You said shoot. You very specific.
Oh, I said shoot. You're right. Shoot him a DM.
Technically, I'm not a DM here. Technically, I'm an MC. Just want to be clear about that.
Hey, for those of you who appear on Masters of the Dungeon,
I think that counts.
Anyways.
Yeah. Anyways, other than that, there is a tweet out right now, which you should also retweet and let all your friends know that you're here and watching. The link is in chat. And with that, I will turn things over to Johnny, and also Tunar. Thank you for that donation.
Something to say before you start.
Then they get to do
Donate
something with
this
that.
fantastic channel. Bam.
I need to turn off the speaking thing when I'm doing this, but thank you, Tunarth. But Johnny, why don't you go ahead and hit us with a recap for us as we get started.
Are you sure you want me to hit you? Is that really the phrasing that you want to, or the okay, anyways.
Oh, I have vulnerability, so yeah, go ahead.
I'm not afraid of you, actually. The person that I'm afraid of most is Morrigan. Let's be completely clear about this. She scares the living hell out of me.
I don't know about the phrasing on this. So I was going to say I took a blow from Iron Hans. but
And with that,
no.
previously on 6 and 20 Metropolis, after discovering that Trisha Bjorn was having them followed, Morrigan and Geo question the private dick and are unsure what to do next. Meanwhile, Cal finishes his dinner with Harold Bjorn and makes plans to meet the next night. At the R&R diner the next morning, everyone except Cal heeds Johnny's call for a meeting. Determined to get things figured out, though, when Cal does not show up, Johnny decides to find him and express his concerns with the crew. When they do eventually relocate him in the park, after looking at his apartment and breaking in, causing an alarm, Cal is reluctant to continue his association with the crew, and they all split different ways until the evening. That night, at Xanadu, Johnny has a meeting with Mr. Gallows to return some items that he stole from Trisha Bjorn's penthouse. To make amends, Gallows gives him a personal challenge: reunite the crew. Stepping into Xanadu, Johnny finds Morrigan and Geo drinking, trying to forget their troubles of the day. But then, Morrigan gets a call. And on that call, it's Derek Roth. And the contents of that call is very simple. Holy shit. Phoebe's dead. And that's where we fit in.
That's right.
I also want to know, I did talk to Trisha while being drunk.
Oh yeah.
Yes. That was just the highlights from the last little bit of, anyways. Okay. So
I forgot about Phoebe being dead, honestly, and I'm re-experiencing that
Am I the
shock.
only one who didn't fucking forget shit?
you're the only one besides me that takes notes.
And I've got a
I
really
didn't
fucking
take any
horrible
notes on that.
toothache, so I don't remember fucking anything right now.
I was like trying to remember like what important things happened last session. It was like, all right, there's us trying to get together. There's
Cal's a
that phone
big
call
baby.
with Trixie. Gallows offered, a deal to Johnny and stuff. Totally glossed over that bombshell.
It's all good.
Yeah, while we're doing this, Speedy, you should make sure you pay attention to chat because they don't like you ignoring them.
Yeah, I listened, Clarity, and I'm sure you're with Askren too. Get over it. I'll see you tomorrow.
Wait, is Speedy Snot Askren?
It might
Probably.
be.
Oh.
Y'all need to shut the fuck up. I'm trying to play
Why
a
don't you
game
just-
here.
Hey, they're all kind of excited. Let them be excited. It's all good. Morgan, you're on the phone with Derek.
Oh, thanks. You just put me on the spot there like that. That's cool.
No, it's not like you're drunk or anything.
I'm totally drunk. I guess I need to be pretending I'm drunk. Hold on. Damn it.
My vodka.
Just down and...
Just chug a 4 Loco, you'll be fine.
Oh, yeah.
I believe the correct phrasing last week was you're trying to be Cal. Was it emulate Cal or be Cal?
I'm trying out what Cal's got this big uproar about with fornication and stuff. That's the next step after drunk. So I'm waiting. I haven't gotten there yet, and now I've been interrupted by death. So
I don't remember that part.
it's not like I was telling Gio, like, by the way, I plan on having sex this evening. Just wanted to let you know.
Wow.
Nope.
What?
Nope.
I
It's not like
remember
that
part
happened.
either.
Okay. Drunk Morrigan answers the phone and is with that news. Hangs up. Oh God. I think nope, that's bad. Calls him back. Sorry, Derek. I am at Xanadu right now, and did you just say what I think you said? Yeah, I've had a few drinks. It's been a rough day. So, like, as in dead in her house peacefully kind of deal, or something else?
We got a call. We got a tip from the docks to check a particular warehouse. Are you sober enough?
Yep,
come to-
definitely now. Yep.
Morgan, I can fill you in later. Don't. If you've had, if it's
I'm not
been
going to drive, if that's what you're implying.
It's not about driving, Morgan. It's a pretty rough scene.
Oh, yeah. I can handle that part. It's more of the fact that, are you sure it's her?
We're investigating right now. There's no confirmation yet from the CSI, but the first initial reports indicate it's the identification for the person indicates that it is Phoebe.
Okay, so we're talking like, you know what? Nah, don't. I'll be there in a few minutes. Just text me the address.
He hangs up and immediately you get a text. The location. It's in the docks.
Okay. And Morgan like stumbles over to Geo and grabs you by the shoulder. Geo! And she's yelling unnecessarily because she feels like it's really loud in here, but it's not that loud. Even on 80s night, it's not that loud. Okay. First of all, drunk. Second of all, Phoebe's dead. Third of all, we need to go see the police. And yeah, here's the address in the phone.
Phoebe's dead?
Yep, that's what I was told. God, should I have another drink before we go?
No, definitely not. It
Depends on what the drink.
Maybe I should. I don't know.
No. I should have another drink before we go. You should not.
No. Okay, if we both have another drink, fine. It's fine. That's right. It's fine.
Should we try and get Johnny and Cal?
Well, I mean, like, Cal fucking hates me. Which, whatever, I guess. He hates everybody. That doesn't fuck him, so, whatever. But, maybe I just don't. I don't know if it's
we should probably just go.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know why I even asked. All right, come on, let's go. Like, kind of grab you and like lead you out. I imagine stumbling a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't Johnny there too?
Johnny's at the front door talking to Tamante.
Oh yeah,
you're
right.
still there.
Yeah.
Oh, so then we probably
we assumed you had left though.
Yeah.
If you're outside with the bouncer.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then in that case, you see Morrigan and Geo. Morgan stumbling.
Well, before that, I was having a conversation with Tamante we never got to. So I wasn't just standing out there and it's like, what's up, man?
I don't know.
Okay, so we'll cut to that conversation as Geo and Morgan are beginning to walk out towards you.
As Johnny walks up to Monte and he's like, I got a question for you.
I got an answer for you, little man.
Where's Cal?
What do you mean?
Where can you find Cal?
Usually by the phone. I mean, I've got his digits, don't you?
Yeah, he was not responding to me.
What did you do?
Well, he was mad about the whole breaking in thing. He was mad about something else, but that's not my business to talk about. But so I have to bring the group back together, and he's not responding to me, so I don't know what to do. I have to find him.
Is this how you're making amends to Oscar?
Mm-hmm.
All right, give me your phone number. I'll see what I can do about finding him.
Okay, and I give Tamante my phone number.
Now, you be careful, little man. As I understand it, he's been hanging with Harold lately.
Oh, that's not good.
Just be careful.
All right, I can do that.
And so at that point, I guess Geo and Morrigan come out.
I like look at them and it's like, obviously Morrigan's drunk as hell, and so I was just looking at her.
What's up, Johnny? How's it going?
Good.
I need more water.
Sure. What's going on?
Oh, there's people here. Go this way.
Okay.
Yeah,
see you later,
we're
Talante.
we're about to be heading out, and Gio's like ordering an Apollo on his phone as we're walking, just a little bit off to the side.
So, Phoebe is dead.
Dead?
Whoa! Shh! Why are you yelling?
Who's dead, little man?
No, that's...
He's gonna be dead if he stays out past curfew.
Oh yeah, you make sure you get him home, little lady.
Good cover.
Yeah, okay. Let's walk further away from everyone.
Yeah, can we not shout, please? Just...
Well, I'm sorry, that's kind of surprising
I
information
know!
to find out right when you're, like, have whiskey breath in my face and they're like, dead, and then I'm
Does it smell that bad? Oh God, it does. Okay, I need a mint. Do you have a mint?
I like start going through my backpack, and there's one mint at the bottom of his bag, and he pulls it out, and there's like little crumbs and dust on it, and he's like,
Lint stuck to it for like a year and a half.
No, the alcohol will get rid of whatever bacteria is on that, right? Oh God.
and you would like there would be like food grease on it too as you put it in your mouth. So
Bacon mint.
As you put it in your mouth, Gio pulls out like a pack of gum, and like offers it to you too late.
Spits out the mint.
but it's blackjack, so it's licorice flavored gum.
Oh God. Okay, so you're sober, right, Johnny?
yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna try something. Just don't move. Just stand there. It's not gonna hurt you, I swear. I'm gonna try to grant power to myself to make me sober. And I'm probably gonna fail it because there's not much I can do a couple things from this theme, but that's about it.
Narratively, how does that work?
So when I transform and embody, I take on the characteristics of the thing that I transform to. I've never done this before.
Is this a stop holding back?
I don't know. This is a drunk, and I'm trying things that I probably shouldn't.
I don't know. I feel like this is a drunken stop holding back.
I was going to say, no, it's a stop. Don't do that. That's what it is.
I think it's more take a risk than stop holding back.
That's probably true.
Absolutely. I definitely think it's take a risk, but it's just funny because it's something she's trying not to do before, and that's the perfect definition
her
of that.
Her drunk version of her brain is like, this seems like a fantastic idea.
So clearly we need to change the name of the ability to here, hold my beer.
I love it. I'm guessing.
Hold my beer, hold on. I'm going to steal this person's shadow. Oh, shit.
Oh, God. So Johnny, would I fairly assess that I have a negative status effect of drunk?
I would say, yeah. It's the kind of thing where because it's played into this whole scenario as, it's been fun narrative conversation and fun narrative, kind of situationally. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily think it's a negative, but if you think it's important for your character to do that, then yeah, let's go ahead and say you have a status, and so it's going to have a -1 effect on you.
Yeah.
But that's all that it's really going to be, and I feel like we're pushing the bounds of good RP, coming in mechanically. Sure. So, yeah, nothing more than a -1. Don't bring in any other weaknesses.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll do embody and grant power as my power tags for this. And
that works.
Take a risk. Taking a risk. Boom. Oh, it's mild success. That's okay.
That is okay. So.
Oh.
I can't wait to see what happens here.
So, it can happen, but you're going to take a tier 1 status of hungover, which is just, it's just to imply that you were able to process all the alcohol out of your system, but you did it naturally very quickly. So of course you experience the hangover.
Yeah.
Or you can do that as your ugly choice. And it's either going to take a little bit more time. So you're gonna have to play the rest of this scene and potentially the crime scene drunk, but there won't be any negative status, right? You'll still act like you're drunk. Just need to act like you're drunk, but you won't have the negative status of being drunk, essentially, of the tier 1 status.
Right.
I can't think of anything. Does anybody think of anything else for a hard choice here? Because the hard bargain just seems really.
No, the hangover thing is outstanding because Johnny's voice is going to be fucking grating for the hangover.
That's true.
All right, let's just go with a hard bargain then, because I'm having trouble coming up with an ugly choice here.
I mean, ugly choice is that like she can get rid of it without a negative effect, but she has to vomit all of it right now.
In the
That's ugly.
Okay, all right. So
I was
going to
suggest she can be sober, but Derek will know that she was drunk and not be happy about it.
She'll be sober, but she still smells like a brewery.
He does know she's drunk. So.
Both of those will totally work. The only reason I did not bring up the whole vomiting thing is because I didn't want to force that. I didn't want to force Meta's character into that, because that's gross. I mean, that's just hard. It's wrong.
It is.
I mean, in retrospect, if you're like, I'm gonna sober up. All right, let's go for round 2, everyone. Like that's I've seen some people do that.
Listen, some people visit the vomitorium. I'm not one of them.
You know, that's not what a vomitorium is.
God.
No,
I know, but it's what people think it is. So
Yeah.
it's still kind of funny.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyways, ultimately, it's Morrigan's choice. What would the Morrigan like to do?
I feel like I'm gonna take the hard choice here on that, only because it's funny and it gives me an opportunity to like get away from everybody for a few minutes as I do this, because I'm not just gonna vomit in front of them unless that's a condition of this hard choice.
I am not going to force your character to do something demeaning like that. That is
Great.
I'm sure that Gio would happily hold Morgan's hair.
So here's what happens. So she like grabs Johnny by both shoulders and like looks at him, and she's like, okay, just concentrate. And she's talking to you, but she's talking to her, like she's psyching herself up right now. Okay, you can do it.
You can do
Yep.
it.
Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I need a few minutes. Just hold the Apollo. I'll be right back.
Well, it's not even here yet.
Your chariot awaits.
Your chariot awaits.
And it like just pulls up right there.
Yep.
Do we hear her vomit?
No, she went inside. There's loud music and.
Did she go inside? I thought she went like around
she
the
went
corner.
to the alley.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought she went back inside. She
That'd
said
be a
something like
terrible
the
place
rest.
to
You would, that means she would have to go through Metamancer, then get through a bunch of people as she has like vomit in her mouth. I think she ran to the alley and it's like,
I guarantee you, if she's walking through that door or that crowd going, people are going to part like the Red Sea.
yeah, but then there's going to be a line for the girls' bathroom. All the stalls are going to be filled. I've been to a bar. I know how this is going to go.
Look, a bar in Austin is exactly like a bar everywhere else.
Yeah, like a bar in Minnesota, same thing. There's always a line for the women's bathroom, and all the stalls are filled, even after closing.
I didn't go to the bathroom. I went to the alley.
Yeah, that's what we were saying.
Okay,
That's why.
so there was a discussion, and that's
Oh yeah.
now it's settled.
Yes, the alleyway. Oh, okay, better.
Thank you for waiting. Sorry.
You got a little.
Oh dear God.
Carrot right there in your.
I think she'll need that gum now.
I just said I am going to need another piece of gum. Maybe like just give me the whole thing.
Just paper and all.
Okay.
All right, we're getting the Apollo.
Yep.
And it takes off.
Johnny is eating a very greasy hamburger. next to Morgan.
Where were you keeping that?
What?
So you want to share some of that, maybe?
Okay.
And I...
And we're gonna cut before this gets even any worse.
Thank God.
To Cal. The appointment is at I believe it was Santino's at 7 p.m.
Mhm.
How does Cal prepare for this evening?
I'm trying to see. He hasn't been back home since he, or has he?
Well, it's entirely up to you, right? I mean, by the time the whole incident with in the park, that probably took that was probably like early afternoon. There would have been a lot of cops at your place because Geo tripped the silent alarm after breaking into the place. So you would have eventually got home to find that your place had been kind of overlooked by the cops.
So yeah, done all that and reviewed the camera footage, and when we see the security footage of Geo entering 6969 on the keypad, Calvin just starts laughing and looks at the cops and is like, no, this is fine. That's actually a friend of mine. I know who that is. This is no big deal. Don't worry about it. It's fine. That's just his way of telling me he was here. It's I'm really sorry for the inconvenience. You guys don't need
Funny way to show that your friend has a sense of humor.
Well,
by breaking in.
Well, he was probably just really eager to talk to me about something. Maybe he didn't have his phone or whatever.
Do you have a phone? I mean,
I do actually. Would you like my phone number? Because I would very much like yours.
And he kind of begins to close his book, and as he's doing that, you can see him kind of fiddling with his wedding ring. No, thanks. I think we're good here. You have a nice day, Mr. Gannicus. Gannicus.
It's okay. We can work on that tongue twister. If you want to include your other half, that's fine. I don't mind sharing.
Thank you. And
you are very
properly welcome. Not everyone is in love with Cal's, forward approach.
It's okay.
All right, so cops leave your apartment or your home pretty quickly, and so you've got a little bit of time. I guess you've got a couple hours to prepare. How does Cal prepare for this particular evening?
He's got a banded collar shirt that he wears on extremely special occasions. And it's got really nice silver buttons. Actually, it's a double row of buttons that go all the way up to the top. I love banded collar shirts. I don't have any, but I love them. And a slightly less casual kilt, which there are casual kilts and formal kilts. Anyway, basically it's just his usual. I almost said retinue. I can't remember what that word means, but it feels like the right one for the thing. Someone Google that for me. Sage that for me. So because we don't have Google, we have Sage. And he's probably going to have a bit of a snack before he leaves so that he's not super hungry when he gets there. Just because if he's anything like me, which in some aspects he is, because, I designed him, going to a dinner appointment when you're ravenous is awful. It's a bad plan because you just wind up eating like Johnny and talking at the same time. And it's just not exactly a professional thing, but just more or less his usual preparations.
Okay.
A little more dressed up on his upper half than normal.
All right. And so do you walk to Santino's, or do you take an Apollo?
It's not that far away, I don't think. From
it's in the middle of downtown, but it's Or it's closer to Tinseltown, so it would actually be kind of on the other side,
Yeah.
From you.
Yeah. Then yes, he will call in a Palu.
Okay, so the vehicle arrives. It's one of your regular drivers that you tend to associate with. Casual conversation going across town. And then you arrive at Santino's just as the doors are opening at 7. And so you step inside. Harold is not anywhere in sight. The place is just starting to open up. There is the intimate little bar sort of off to the side, so you can sidle on up and get a drink. And so probably about 5 minutes pass. What does Cal order to drink in this particular situation?
Just a pretty standard Cabernet, that would be, for those of you watching who don't know.
And so just about 5 minutes after you're kind of sipping your Cabernet, Harold steps up and orders an ale. And he says, "Hello, Cal. Nice to see you this evening."
And you as well, Mr. Bjorn.
Harold, please. We're on first name basis here.
You are correct.
At least that's what I remember from last night, although I don't quite remember the end.
It was a very good evening.
So, are you still... I mean, I don't mean to get right down to business, but this meeting is incredibly important. Are you still sure that you want to go through with this? That you want to work for me?
I mean, I'll still be allowed to continue doing my reviews, I hope.
How can I keep a master from his canvas? You weave words that inspire people to enjoy great things. How can I prevent you from doing that?
I'm sure you could find a way. I just wanted to make certain that you won't.
Cal, I'm only interested in your ability to communicate.
Then I see no reason that we should not come to a mutually beneficial arrangement.
Well, let us say that your services will be on retainer tonight. And if things go well, we will talk about more long-term arrangement.
All right.
The conversation we're about to have, the business arrangement that we're about to deal with, it's incredibly delicate. What would you suggest for somebody who's incredibly resistant to reason?
Ooh. Well, I presume we're speaking of legal means.
Legality and the court system are not options here. This person is incredibly headstrong, and they are coming to the table resistant to my business arrangement.
But they are coming to the table. So there is some option. If they were so completely against whatever it is that you're suggesting, they wouldn't come to the table at all.
They come to the table because of respect. That does not mean that they are interested in my arrangement at all.
Well, how's this?
Do I have you? I'm sorry, what?
I was going to ask how susceptible they are to blackmail.
It would have to be very good to convince them that this is the right choice. They've known scandal in the past. They tend to survive it pretty well.
Scandal you don't survive is pretty bad scandal. So the whole point behind scandal is that you have to survive it. You have to endure through it.
But blackmail implies that you have something that would ruin them. Isn't that the definition of a scandal?
Well, definitely something that would damage them, not necessarily ruin them. Faced against ruin, a lot of people will just say, what do I have to lose? Everything? Then they have no choice but to rail against it. It's an all or nothing equation.
So, are you advising a approach in moderation?
Perhaps, but in my experience, people who can be particularly stubborn, sometimes, if they are that unwilling to side with you, how unwilling are you to meet them part way? Or is this also an all or nothing thing from your side?
My terms are lucrative. They are much in the other party's favor. I just need the results.
That was not my question. How willing are you to budge?
He sits back, or he steps back, and you really caught him off guard. And he sips his ale, different from how he was drinking last night. And you could really see that the gears are working. Harold might be a large, brave, sort of guts and glory CEO, but he's not a thinker. He's not. And you can see that the gears are turning. And he leans forward again and he says, I would be willing to do what it takes to make sure that this deal goes through. For me, it is all or nothing, but that doesn't mean that I have to win to get what I want. Any negotiation usually leaves both parties a little unhappy with the result.
Then that is my suggestion. Listen as much as talk. Find the middle ground that gives both of you at least part of what you want.
All right.
Then work the puzzle from there.
He looks at his watch. Well, they should be arriving just about a minute or two now. Why don't we adjourn to a table? I've reserved the restaurant for another hour before they'll let anybody else in. So let's get started.
Very well.
And he takes you over to the table, and of course the waiter comes up, takes appetizer orders, and otherwise just kind of, leaves the two of you alone. And Harold sits down with you, and he says, before we begin, what do you want in return for tonight? What is the cost of your retainer?
I honestly hadn't given that much thought yet. My life, such as it is, I'm fairly content to enjoy the good things in life, write my reviews, ferret out the not so good things in life, and warn people away from them. A sharing of knowledge and experience that is pleasurable for everyone, if they would have it. And, you know, I have my home. I have my wine collection. I have my job. I had my magazine, but that's gone. But I don't need my magazine. I don't need that. I can do my job.
This isn't necessarily about need. This is about what you want for your services rendered.
Harold, I'm not sure you can give me what I really want.
Oh, okay, well then we're going to have to hold this conversation until afterwards, but I will ask you what you want.
Oh, it's a very simple answer.
And he points to the door, indicating that the party has arrived. And in walks a beautiful young woman, dressed all in green, dark hair, makeup to the nines. And she steps forward to the table. And Harold stands up.
Service gal.
Steps around, holds the chair out for her, and says, "Calvin Gannicus, may I introduce my sister, Trisha?" And that's where we're going to transition back to the crime scene. The Apollo ride was probably pretty painful. Johnny, what were you singing or doing that entire time?
That's a great question.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme?
No. He's too.
Thundercats?
No.
Go
not
Power
Thundercats.
Rangers!
No.
Nope.
It would be an actual song. It'd probably be something along
Come and Get Your Love from Guardians of the Galaxy, since you're wearing the
it's
Star-Lord
too
t-shirt.
old for him. I
Oh,
think it'd
come
be like,
on.
It'd
That
be
soundtrack
90s,
is...
90s alternative rock that he would like kind of go to. So maybe some Nirvana or
Pearl
actually
Jam?
no, I got it. Possum Kingdom by yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
That's the Toadies. That's the name of the band.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. They had one hit song.
No, they had another one. They had Tyler. Oh, I like Tyler, but
I don't remember that one, but okay. Yeah. Anyways, the video was pretty interesting for that Possum Kingdom. Anyways, so you pull up to the crime scene, and I'm sure Morgan is the first one out because she's just completely annoyed with Johnny.
Yes.
Gio steps out the other side, and Johnny kind of steps out from the middle. I imagine covered in crumbs.
That song. Okay. I know.
yeah. I'm not gonna die.
It's a song about a serial killer. Anyways,
No, that's Tyler. Is it or is Tyler about a stalker? It's a song about Tyler, Texas.
They're both about the same wonderful person.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Johnny would get out. He would have he's still like finishing up the burger, and I don't know how long it took to get here. Maybe 10 minutes, 15.
10 or 15 minutes. I mean, if you're from downtown all the way to the docks, it basically takes you the length of the blue collar district.
Question:
Yes.
Is this the same docks I was at last night?
Not the exact same warehouse, but yes, this is the same region
Okay.
of the blue collar district that you would have been.
I was worried it was the same warehouse and be like, ah!
You were just fighting like over her dead body without knowing the whole time.
Sorry, Miss Phoebe. Ah! I would just get out and just kind of follow everyone else and just like be kind of attentive and pretend I haven't been here in a while. Oh, what lovely docks! Oh,
Johnny,
Hello.
Gio, perhaps stay-ish closer to the car rather than the crime scene. So Derek doesn't really know that I brought people with me.
That's fair. It would be weird to bring a bartender and a kid to a crime scene.
How long is that car sticking around?
Not
We'll
long.
just,
We can order another
Hey,
one.
what? And it's gone. I'm like, oh, well.
Just kind of like, don't
We'll just hang out.
act suspicious.
Just a
Or,
bartender and a kid hanging out by the docks.
totally normal.
Smoking.
This is so fucked
as
as
they
Morgan
do.
walks away. Looking for Derek.
So as you approach the crime scene line, Morgan, they recognize you and kind of let you in and indicate that Detective Roth is on the second story of this particular warehouse that's kind of in front of you. And as you kind of assess the response to this, outside, you see that there is a number of squad cars. There's a couple of detective vehicles. There is a CSI vehicle, and the coroner is on scene.
Okay, I go to find Derek right away. Is there anything specific that stands out about the site? Like, is there blood everywhere, or is there like destruction, anything like that?
Not outside. So as you enter in, you walk into an incredibly large warehouse that's really open, and it's about 3 or 4 stories tall in the warehouse area. But you see immediately that the activity is up a stairs and on the second floor landing of some kind that looks to be connected to like a series of like probably offices that are associated with the building. And so you climb the stairs and you see that there's a little bit of a crowd of people, and you see Roth or Derek just kind of communicating with a CSI investigator.
Okay. Morgan kind of walks up, looks around. Hey, Derek.
Well, you got here fast.
Yeah. Kind of important, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, let me fill you in. Let me just finish this conversation real quick.
Sure.
And the conversation between Derek and the CSI investigator leaves you with a couple of interesting questions immediately, because apparently they can't identify the body because the body is in pieces and the head is missing.
Oh.
However, the woman, the murder victim, was wearing the same clothes, or appears to be wearing the same clothes that that Phoebe Dirae was wearing on the night she was kidnapped. And the all of her items that she had on her identification, her purse, just they're all there. They're it basically identifying her, but there's no confirmation of it's still suspected. There's not a confirmation yet, but all signs, circumstantial evidence seems to indicate that it is Phoebe Dirae.
Okay.
And so Derek kind of finishes that conversation. Okay, so let me just bring it to speed real quick. In here is the crime scene, and he points to an office kind of off the landing of this second story. And there's about 10 people up on this landing, just kind of having various conversations. And you see that there is a CSI photographer in there, crime scene photographer, just kind of taking pictures right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "We got a tip to come check this out. The body hasn't been moved. The evidence, the purse was sort of found on the floor separately. We were able to kind of jump in real quickly and dig through that. Again, indicates that it's her, based on her identification. We're doing fingerprints analysis. We're doing blood analysis now. It does not look like she was killed here. It looks like she was moved here and placed based on the way the room is set up."
Yeah.
We're still trying to get an indication as to whether there was, a body bag, plastic, something that was maybe disposed of. We've got, uniforms kind of canvassing the area right now. This isn't what we had expected. This implies a very different profile than what we expected from her being kidnapped. Doesn't match the evidence either.
I mean, dismemberment is a personal thing. A very personal thing.
It implies a plan.
Brutality for something like this goes far beyond. If this is actually Phoebe, then I would be not surprised if the other sisters were soon to follow in the same fate.
He looks at you. You think that this is going to be a serial case? You think that this is a sequence of some kind?
Dismemberment is not a one-time thing. This is not the work of one-time murder. This is definitely, if it's not already a serial killer, then it will be. This type of behavior is not something that somebody explores and then stops. They took.
Hold on. And he pulls you aside and takes you off, around the corner and off to along the side of the office. There's like a little walkway. There's nobody else there, but you can sort of see into the scene. And he says, "Listen, you need to be careful saying that. The last time
I know
that you and I worked a case like this, it got out of hand pretty quickly."
Yeah, I remember. Would you say that this looks a lot like that case? Or is this different? Okay.
This is definitely different. But it does give you that emotional response to that circumstance.
Yeah, I figured. Derek, this is not, people like this. The types of people that do this. They're sending a message. And I don't know who it's for yet, but we need to confirm if it's Phoebe or not.
Lab's at least an hour out in the fingerprint analysis.
Has there been any progress with any of the other sisters or anything?
Detective Devereaux is supposed to be heading this direction, since this is basically the first real change in the case that we've seen in the last 24 hours. She's supposed to brief me when she gets here. Do you want to be on that conversation?
Yeah, I can, whatever insights I can offer, at least maybe, I don't know. There has to be a connection. I know we haven't been able to put the dots together between the three sisters being gone, but this has to mean something.
All right, well, do me a favor. Don't say anything to anybody else about the possibility of this being a kill or a murder in sequence.
Yeah.
But I need you to get in there and give me your assessment.
Yeah. Is there anything else found outside of this main room?
No. We don't understand why she was dumped here. We don't understand the layout, the placement. Something's off. Something's really off about this. This doesn't match anything that we had suspected.
What was your working theory?
That the sisters had been kidnapped. That was a story, and that they went into hiding for some unknown reason. We found some documentation from their legal team at Pandora's Delights that the sisters were being threatened, and that at first they were just receiving threats of harm, and then there were death threats, and that's been going on for a couple of weeks now. Ever since, interestingly enough, Gerald Walker died.
Yeah. Do you think those are related yet?
This does not match that scene.
Not the same MO, but it's too close. The people are too close together. There are no coincidences like this.
I don't know. The only thing that's tying this all together right now is the Walker Foundation and that silly gala that happened on Wednesday. So I need your assessment. Let me coordinate see if I can push the analysis on the fingerprints, and hopefully we can get something back.
And DNA. Did you guys take blood?
It's going to take a little bit longer, but yeah.
Okay. All right. So.
And as you begin to as he begins to walk away, and you start to head towards, he kind of stops you a second. And he looks back and he says, "I don't think it's Bishop. This doesn't match anything that we investigated previously."
Yeah, but if there was an event that happened that could have changed, I don't want to even think about it. But hopefully it's not, or hopefully it is. I don't know. Which would be better, the evil that we do know, or the evil that we don't?
I don't know. And he kind of gives you that sort of puppy dog look of concern for you, and then turns to go deal with the CSI investigator.
Okay. I'm just gonna like one-handed, not looking down at my phone, text the group, kind of like still investigating, like just to give them an update that I'll be out as soon as I can.
Okay, so we're gonna cut back to Johnny and Gio.
Okay.
You're outside the crime scene. You see basically the same thing that Morrigan saw as she was walking into the building. What do the two of you want to do?
I imagine we stand there for a little while, and then, like, after getting the text from Morrigan that, like, she's still investigating. You want to have a look around, Johnny? I mean, the crime happened inside, but
I actually want to, and like Johnny this whole time has like been looking around and like the outskirts and like seeing who's around other than the police. His reasoning is because on detective TV shows all the time, the killer always comes back to the crime scene.
Does that mean you want to do an investigate?
I do want to do an investigate. And I'm thinking what would actually be indomitable and to go all the way. I think those are the only two that really apply. I'm looking at everything else. Yeah. I think that's what I'll mark those two and then roll it. Let's see if this. I just want to see if the rolling works. Indomitable. And to go all the way. Investigate. Wait, hold on. Let's see if a weakness. I'm not hungry. I'm not facing the nemesis. No, none of my weaknesses apply. So, all right.
Are you sure?
It didn't. I would have gotten a 7. Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, you would have gotten a 7. Okay.
Yeah.
So, with 2 power tags, that means you get 2 questions, or you get 2 clues you can spend as questions that I will answer for you. And of course, because it is a mild success, not everything is going to be clear about what you're looking into. So ask me your questions, Johnny, and I will tell you some lies.
Okay. So one of my questions is going to be, is there anyone else other than the police watching?
Oh yeah, there's a fair bit of bystanders, dock workers who are just kind of loitering and hanging out, looking at the scene. I mean, it is about 7:30, so there is still a bit of activity going on in the docks. Is
there? My second question: out of the people that are gathered, is there anyone who looks like they don't look like they work on the docks?
Yes. And they catch your eye, definitely, but not necessarily for the reason that you would think, because a couple of them look familiar from the Fight Club ring that you were at last night.
Oh, I'm like, oh.
And they look like they're taking keen interest in what's going on. They haven't seen you yet.
I kind of like back off and have like Gio, like where they're at. I stand like where I'm standing behind Gio from their perspective. And I'm like, well, I don't see anything out of the ordinary. Just a lot of dock workers. I I don't know what do you want to look at?
I mean, I don't know. Ways in, ways out of this place. We could try asking some of the dock workers. I mean, they're the ones who stay around here. Maybe they saw something.
Maybe. Maybe you could talk to them, and then maybe I can get a higher advantage.
Okay. Doesn't seem like you.
That's fine. He just walks off. So what Johnny's gonna do is Johnny's gonna go find some buildings to jump on top of.
Okay.
And he's gonna try to get a vantage point so he can see around the building and see if he can see anything that looks suspicious to him. Or
Okay.
look for points of ingress and egress, and then if there's anything misplaced or something seems like a miss, also trying to be unnoticed as well.
So this sounds like a sneak around then.
Okay. So I'm gonna use Inhuman Strength to go all the way and Impressive for this.
Okay.
Let's see if these click. I had to go all the way. All right. No. Okay. Still no weaknesses. Sneak around. Bam. 10.
Please
Everything full.
Please tell me that as you're jumping, Johnny goes, "It's me, Mario."
Okay, so you jump up and get the vantage point that you're looking for, and you begin to kind of look around. We're going to cut back to Geo, who is now been left by Johnny because he seemed a little bit uncomfortable and weird. What does Geo do here?
So, how are there people kind of gathered around the crime scene trying to get a look at what's going on, or is it
Yeah, there's
Okay.
dock workers definitely kind of looking around the crime scene, and because Johnny had done the investigation, you do notice, based on kind of his assessment as you're kind of looking around, you do notice that there are a couple of people that do not look like they're from the docks, who also appear to be incredibly interested in what's going on.
Got it. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of slide my way through the crowd and sidle up, trying to get a better look over the other people to try and see, and I'm gonna kind of nudge the guy standing next to me and be like, "Have you got any idea what's been going on here?"
Okay, so by nudge the guy next to you,
It's
who
one
are you
of
trying to do?
the ones who stands out.
Okay, so it's one of the guys who stands out. So as you're kind of you're making your way towards them and you're kind of looking around, you notice that they're wearing street gang jackets for the skulls.
Skulls. All right. Are any of them members of the Skulls we saw at the gala?
No.
Okay.
You do not recognize these three at all.
Got it. Okay.
And so as you kind of nudge the guy, he's like, I don't know. There's always something going on the docks. The cops are down here all the time. We were just kind of curious because, it kind of borders on our territory a little bit. And you see him kind of, right himself and, primp a little bit, just to,
Flash the
to
colors
show
a
it.
bit, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah?
Skulls. Wait, hold on. Does that work this way?
Yeah.
What is the gain sign for the skulls?
Hold on. I got it. We're the Skulls.
Those are the luchadors. They're on the other side.
You think that fighting ring that Johnny was in wasn't a luchador ring? It wasn't said, but it was heavily implied.
Bone Stars ready.
Oh, it's part of your territory? You didn't have anything to do with this then?
Not everything that goes on in the blue collar district is us. We try, but Samuel keeps a pretty tight leash. And at that, you see one of the other guys, hey, come on. And they trying to drag their friend off. As he's clearly, kind of primping and being proud of being a skull.
Mm-hmm.
But they're trying to pull him away.
I think I'm just gonna let them go. I don't think there's a good way to stop them necessarily. I don't know how much. It seems like they don't know what's going on specifically here.
You're a magician.
You're
Are
right.
you watching closely? Come on.
Sure, I'm watching closely. What do I see?
Does it imply that you were going to do a trick for them? That's what I was going for.
I don't think that makes sense.
Okay.
Just waiting outside a crime scene.
My ass.
No, wait. We're just having a conversation here. Come on. This is your territory. Don't you think someone's got to stay behind?
No, he's said enough already. We need to go. He's like, no, come on. I don't want to. And there's a little bit of an internal conflict. Look, new guy, you got to get going. Let's get out of here. And they forcibly kind of pull him along towards the outside, and then they start walking back into the blue collar district.
All right. As they're kind of walking away, I want to try and just slip the guy who is kind of proud and willing to talk my number.
How do you want to do that?
With style and grace.
Yeah.
With lots of panache?
Yeah, exactly.
That would be too. That's the exact opposite of subtle, and
That's
he
fine.
is a showman, however.
I'm not necessarily trying to be subtle with this. I want him to know that it's there. I don't necessarily want the other guys to know that it's there. But
Okay.
yeah, so just kind of as they're kind of walking away, I'll just try and do like a high five goodbye kind of thing and just slip it in his hand.
Seems like it's take a risk.
Sure.
Or maybe sneaking around, depending upon how you want to do this.
I'd say take a risk.
Okay.
Because I think
it's in the open.
It's in the open, and it's like a gang member I'm doing this with, and like he was proud to talk about it, but it doesn't necessarily mean he'd just want to like talk about it. Because that at that point then becomes kind of like narking.
Right.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and throw. Oh God, I didn't throw any power tags on that yet.
Throw some power tags and reroll.
Okay. So reveal hidden methods, misdirection, fake smile. People trust me. Oh, local rumors. Shit, that's too many.
Also, showman.
And showman. Okay, so how many of those tags the power tags can I have?
There isn't a limit.
Okay. Then, cool. If all of those make sense to you.
All of them make sense in the situation as long as showman as a weakness is there.
Okay, sure. And you want me to re-roll it?
Sure.
Okay. 7. Same.
Wow.
Actually, that's a worse roll.
Wow. Okay. All right. So hard bargain is he gets the card. Nobody else sees it, but he doesn't call you back tonight. Or he gets the card, is interested, and because he's interested, surprise shows on his face, and they see it.
Um,
They're not going to react right away because it's you got a mild success. You need to be able to walk away from the scene sort of, but you don't know what's going to happen to him or what's going to happen next.
I think based on the weakness tag applied, I think the one that they see it basically makes more sense to me.
Okay.
A bit of showmanship to it. And just like kind of like a wink and a snap back at him as I turn around and like don't even really watch their reactions. Just kind of have faith in whatever might come.
Okay. All right, and so as you're kind of walk away from the crowd, you can hear that they're giving him shit as they're beginning to walk back towards the collar district, and we're going to cut back to Trisha. Sorry, Morgan.
Hi guys, my name is Trisha.
I'm a bitch.
But are you a lover?
Is that a Valley girl?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't envision Trisha as a Valley girl.
I do because she's a partier.
Yeah, but she's like super bitchy.
Yeah.
Is she?
Not in that way though. She was
Harold,
at me.
I'm gonna go fucking take shots and fuck you.
No.
Bye. Like that's.
She
You
was
were
like,
drunk.
"Don't call, don't look for us. You'll never see me again."
Don't look for me because you're
This is
basic.
defensive.
So it's basically Heather's, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we talking Shannon Doherty Heathers? Are we talking Winona Ryder Heathers?
Winona Ryder Heather's.
Okay.
The only one.
There's like 9 iterations of it now.
Is there? Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
There's a
there's an
musical.
all bird version called Feathers.
Okay.
And with that, Morrigan, how's that crime scene investigation going?
It's a really great question, Johnny. I would love to know what you think I'm supposed to be deducing here, because am I looking for patterns, or what is exactly the...
So I will describe the room to you as you enter
Okay.
it, and then you can tell me whether you're going to investigate or if there's something else that you want to do here.
Okay.
As you enter the room, only the crime scene photographer is there. The body parts are placed in a vaguely normal situation, right? So the torso is sort of laid on the ground. The arms are detached at the shoulders, and the arms are in 2 parts. There's the upper arm. Each body, each arm is cut at the elbow, and then the lower part is placed right below it, as if it's laying on the ground, but it's clearly separated. There are pools of blood, the feet or the legs are the same way. Detached from the pelvis, cut at the knees. The feet are attached to the lower part of the legs, just as the hands are attached to the lower part of the arms. The only blood that is pooled is at the place where the body parts would join together. So at the elbows, at the knees, at the pelvis where the legs would get connected, and at the shoulders where the arms would get connected. There is no blood from where the head would be on the neck. And in fact, the wound looks cauterized there. There is no blood splatter. There is nothing else except the items that were found with the body, which is the purse and the clothes. And the clothes are folded up neatly. However, the undergarments were left on the body.
So did you say that the hands were attached or detached?
The hands and the feet are attached to the lower part of the legs and the lower part of the arms.
Okay. And are they
where
like
they're meant to be? Or
where?
I'm sorry, what?
are they attached where they're meant to be attached? Or
Like
Yes.
hands attached to
Okay.
calves. No.
So, is the body posed in a specific way, or is it just like it's lying down with like its hands and its legs like?
It's laying down in a configuration as if it's just like laying back.
Okay.
The body is not posed in what would be considered an unnatural fashion.
Okay. And is it symmetrically posed?
Yes.
Are the body parts the same as one another, or do they belong to the same person? Do all of them belong to the same person?
Based on your visual inspection, yes. You could investigate and just, discover more information about that situation. But yes, based on just a cursory informal glance, everything seems to match.
Okay. But there's still no head.
No head was found at the crime scene.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and then do a investigates. And what I'm looking for, obviously, I'll ask my questions if I get successes, but I guess I want to see what else is around the room and stuff like that. Like, as far as the clothing goes, you said it was folded up.
Mm-hmm. It was folded neatly.
Drawing the little diagram here. It's weird, right?
Please post pictures later. Share with the class.
It looks like a mannequin right now. It's kind of creeping me out. Do you, maybe this is an investigation, but are there any like lacerations on the arms or indications of being bound?
No, there are no obvious indications that that the body was bound in any way, shape, or form. There's not any bruising in the normal places where you would expect something like that, say around the wrists or the ankles. In fact, the body, other than the trauma at the joints, does not look to have any blemishes on it at all. That's not to imply that they're not there. Just from an initial glance and a bit of a conversation with the crime scene photographer, you don't seem to see anything.
So, okay, this might be that investigate role, but I'm going to look to see if there's any indication of, they don't have a cause of death, right?
They do not have a cause of death yet.
So, yeah. What's so funny?
My initial reaction was, I'm going to go with dismemberment and beheading.
That's not cause of death.
I know that. I'm just...
All right, I'm gonna do my I'm gonna do an investigation roll and then start asking questions depending on whether or not I'm successful there.
Okay. Can you, before you make the actual mechanical roll,
sure,
can you talk a little bit about the way that Morrigan would approach this investigation, so that I understand how the narrative sort of like responses are gonna be to this, right? Based on your description.
Yeah. So Morrigan, unfortunately for her, or fortunately in this case, she's been to a lot of different types of crime scenes, ranging from homicide to just general like abuse and like disruption of the area, and dealing with victims who have both physical and mental effects from said attacks. So Morrigan approaches the scene in a very collective, kind of holistic way, where she observes the entire scene as a whole, and then starts to look at the pieces as if they were happening in a sequence of events. So like she would notice if the door was already opened. She would try to look for other indications of whether or not it was one person carrying the body parts in together in like a bag, or if it was multiple people, those types of things. Any scuffs in the wood of the floor, or whatever kind of floor it is. Any indicators of multiple people specifically, or if it was just one. And then also if they had left anything that was used to carry the body behind. So again, very holistic approach, step by step. Like if she basically puts herself in the shoes of the murderers, and tries to imagine what they would have done when they brought the body here, and then work backwards. So so that's kind of her approach. And then as far as the body itself goes, she's not trained in like medicine, in the way of like the physical medicine of things. Yes, she's a doctor, but not that kind of doctor. So she would have probably a little bit more trouble creating a connection between the actual medical terminology, but she would be able to tell if there was like torture or anything like that. Again, past cases that she's investigated. So,
Okay.
yeah. So that's kind of where she's at. Does that help?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, for her investigative role, she's going to use. She's pretty much going to use her expert witness therapist theme book in psychoanalysis and psychology. She doesn't really have any other. I probably would argue no desire, because she can use that information of previous murders and like the desired outcome of covering up a murder. But also in this case, they're definitely sending some kind of a message, whether it's to an individual, the police, or whatever. She's not really sure, but there's some kind of motivation as to displaying the body in such a fashion. So I think those would be my 3 power tags.
Okay.
And I'm going to go and not call a weakness tag because she's not apathetic. If Derek, said that he didn't think it was the maiden butcher, I don't know if that weakness tag applies. So.
I don't think it applies in this particular case.
Okay. Cool. So click, and click. Any other status effects that you want me to add? Okay. And
Your hungover nature is really not going to affect you here.
yeah. Whoa!
Wow.
Wow! 15.
That
3
would be
power tags, 3 clues.
Jesus. That's 2 6s plus your 3 power tags. Jesus Christ.
I wish
Okay.
I had rolled that on something else. No, I'm just kidding. This is a great roll.
All right. Ask your questions.
Okay. Was there more than one person that set up the body the way it is or brought it in?
No.
Okay.
Based on the way that as you're kind of taking in the scene, the conversation that you have with the crime scene investigator, the crime scene photographer, and some notes that you're able to, kind of connect with one of the other investigators, it looks to be a one-person job.
Okay.
The way that they figured that out was the scene hadn't really been or this place hadn't really been used. This office hadn't been used in a while, and so there were only one set of footprints kind of in the area. And the thing about the footprints, and because of the great success, this is the reason you're getting so many details just out of a single question.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about the footprints was that there was no shoe pattern, as if they were wearing some sort of foot cover on their shoes
Okay.
to hide their tracks. But it was just one set.
Okay. Got it. Okay. And then I don't know if this is a clue question or not, but has the coroner determined time of death? Like how long ago the body expired?
So that's not a clue question.
Okay.
You can have a conversation with the coroner about that.
Okay.
So that can be a social interaction.
Yeah, I'll mark that as a separate question to ask.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Second question is there any evidence of what the body was brought in with? A bag, like plastic garbage bag or canvas or any like, so there's pools of blood, which means that it's possible there's parts of the body that like a pattern could have been transferred over to, whether it's like fabric versus plastic kind of deal. But that's kind of like maybe pushing it. I don't know.
No, it's not obvious that what was used to transport the body. In fact, it's a little bit of a frustration for the investigators that when you get, you have that conversation or you start to compare notes with Derek, you'll find that it's not obvious how this was done. In fact, it's kind of perplexing. But as you're kind of looking for those patterns and looking for some sort of indication, you also notice that along with the blood patterns that are pooling around, there is a slight bit of moisture that's kind of collected under the body parts that is not blood.
They were frozen.
That would be the general idea.
Okay. I'm just going to put a little question mark next to it. Okay. And you said that it was like the where the wounds or where the cuts were made, it was what's the word I'm looking for, with the fire and the thing and the cauterized.
Yeah, only the neck was cauterized.
The neck was cauterized.
Only the neck was cauterized based on what you see so far.
Okay. Trying to ask a question that I wouldn't just ask the coroner about.
You can throw it to the table if you're running out of ideas.
Yeah, I mean, I'll open it up if you guys have suggestions or ideas.
How many questions? What have you asked so
We have
far?
one question left. Oh, wait. 2?
No, you have one question left. She's
Yeah.
asked 2. I thought he was asking how many questions you've asked so far.
How many? What questions did you ask so far?
The number of people that brought in the body.
Okay, and then
And then whether or not the body was whether I could figure out what the body was transported in, and if those remnants were anywhere around the crime scene.
okay, so I don't know. I don't know if Geo has something, but or Speedy, but I'm wondering. Does her body look like it was sawed, or does it look like it was ripped? I don't know if anyone agrees with that question or has a different question.
I would see. I was wondering kind of a similar thing, but knowing that they were frozen makes me wonder: does it look like they were frozen and then dismembered, or does it look like they were dismembered and then the parts frozen?
That's why I was saying I don't know if we should ask that question to the coroner, because they would know medically the series of like the death sequence essentially is like what came before, like was it post-mortem or peri-mortem,
and they would be able to tell.
Right. So like I don't think that's a question.
The only thing they can't tell is time of death.
Depends.
The coroner can say if because of the frozen factor, that's obviously complicated now, but you know.
there was a mob hitman back in the day called the Iceman.
Yeah.
He was known for he didn't get caught for a super long time for the simple fact that after he killed someone, he froze their body and then waited like a few days and then dumped the body. And when he dumped the body, they couldn't get a time of death. They couldn't figure out when they died. They could have died yesterday, or they could have died ages ago because of the liver temp. So that's why I don't think the coroner is going to find out a time of death. That's just McLoken knowledge. I don't know if that's something's changed in
That's actually
history.
part of the reason why I asked Johnny the question I asked him privately.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's see.
So those are valid, but again, I think those are very coroner/morgue questions that they won't have on site. And I'm not a medical doctor, so I wouldn't be able to like look at it and be like, oh, well, according to this strange saw mark here, this body expired approximately, you know.
Well, so it's implied by your backstory.
Yeah.
That the Arthur Bishop case, I think, was the big case before you and Derek. You both also worked on the Gephardt Caparelli case.
Right.
There have been a number of other cases that you guys have worked together. So there's a fair bit of practical experience that might come into play. There might be something obvious there in that respect.
Sure. Yeah, from dismemberment perspective, yes.
So what I would say in that particular case is if there was something that you wanted to ask that something was obvious based on that would be the kind of thing I wouldn't even think is an investigation. Right?
I mean, is it Bishop? I guess like that's what I'm curious about.
I mean, another question you could ask if distinguishing marks. Is there any distinguishing marks that we know Phoebe had?
Yeah.
That are on the body.
Yeah, I was gonna say something similar. Like, is there anything that is different about what Phoebe looks like here from what she looked like at the party besides the obvious?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Hey, Gio. Mm-hmm. What's the obvious?
About 6 inches.
Well, yeah. Where's the head? Is there another question that we should be asking?
Well,
I know I overthink things all the time, so like please step in because I'm over.
Distinguishing marks. Distinguishing marks are tattoos, moles.
Okay, so that would also be the kind of question that the coroner or crime scene investigator would have an obvious answer to, and so
maybe not right now though.
Right, not necessarily right this second. I will give you it though, just because it would be again another part of the coroner conversation. The obvious answer is going to be, or the answer that's going to be no, and that's going to be the quote unquote obvious answer. Right there, as implied by when she asked about if there were any marks or any lacerations on the body, there was no obvious ones of those. In fact, the body is incredibly clean of all of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so another question could be, did someone accidentally bump into something as they left and part of their, I imagine they're wearing clean suits if they have their feet covered up. Someone accidentally bumped into something and caught on a nail in a doorway or anything of the like that no one noticed yet because they're more focused on the body. That could be a follow-up question as well.
So basically taking in the room as a part of the crime scene and not just focusing completely on the body.
Right.
Okay. No, there's nothing, after when you spend a fair bit of time kind of looking around, there is not anything that is obvious that kind of stands out as like a snag. However, you look into the trash and you see that the booties are discarded there.
Okay. I'll let that count as my third question.
All right, so they haven't discovered that yet, and so when you bring that to Derek's attention, Derek's like, "Really? What do you mean the foot booties?" And he and then the CSI investigator kind of step up, and they look inside. There are boot prints in here.
Wait, what?
Why would somebody do this?
Is there any other trash inside that trash can?
No.
Are there footprints after the trash can?
No, not at this point because the crime scene. Say what?
But maybe leading into it?
Into the room?
No, leading into the trash can. Like, are there...
So just jump in the trash can?
Well, the problem, I think what he's asking, since someone took off their booties, obviously, is there tracks leaving?
Because the trash can that the booties are in, or the foot booties are at the door.
So this obviously would be a frame of some sort.
I don't think it's Phoebe's body.
I don't think it's Phoebe's body anyways, but...
no, I know, but I more so don't think it's Phoebe's body.
Why would you look for someone who's dead?
I think it's strange that Trisha called me moments before all of a sudden Phoebe's dead phone call comes in, and she implying that Megan is safe, and I'm thinking Megan equals all the sisters are safe. Because we all know, like, it's implied at this point, at least in Morrigan's theory, that all the sisters disappeared together.
I would take Gio's standpoint right now, and that's because they're like, they want the boots. We should find out where the booties lead, because then we should look the opposite way, because that's where they want us to look.
Wait, what?
He's saying it's a misdirection.
It's a misdirection.
No, I think that what he's saying is like the booties are not just in the trash can, but there's actual boot prints inside of the trash can.
Or inside
Did
of
I-
the booties.
It was inside the booties.
Inside the booties.
Inside the
Prints inside the boot.
Okay, based on the size of the boot print, is it a male or female boot print?
Male.
Okay. And, you know, I mean, like, I'm totally not in my element here, but would I say it's like an adult male or a younger male?
So
They're Skechers, the kind that like have the
Is it like a work
squishy
boot
bottom
or
to
is it
them?
like...
That's how you know they're
Not like
old.
Elite in the back.
I was wondering what she was implying because I don't know. When I was 12, I had adult-sized feet at like size 12. So I was like,
Okay.
Well, I think the problem is that you're trying to get like a height on the person and like weight, but we can't do that because there's no impression to base it off of.
I know.
yes, it is about a size 11,
Okay.
an adult boot print,
God,
based on what you see.
What size is
fucking
Cal?
Goth kids.
Cal has hope.
Okay. All right. So then, fudge monkeys. Talking to the coroner, if that's okay. Can I get confirmation that they believe the body was frozen and stuff like that?
Oh yeah.
Okay. How long was the body dead? Do you feel like, based on current like status of the tissue, before it was frozen? Was it like is it like in pristine condition kind of deal, or was it like frozen hours later kind of deal, or days later kind of deal?
Based on primary analysis of the scene, without taking more samples back to the lab, we believe the body was frozen, and that was the cause of death.
As in, the person was alive when they froze to death?
Yes.
Well, okay. What made the cuts in the body, and was it done pre or post mortem?
We believe those were post-mortem, and that they are fresh cuts within the last 12 hours.
So specifically for this scene. Okay. Can you determine the tool that was used by chance?
A cleaver.
Is there any bruising on the body? Oh,
That is
that's
not
a good-
okay. Saying out of character. That is super not okay, Johnny.
Wait. What would be in this particular case?
No,
Like
like a
skills.
cleaver as in like the maiden butcher. Come on, man. Killing me.
Not literally.
A butcher's tool is a cleaver.
It was a cleaver that was used.
I mean, they were just cutting frozen meat. I don't know what you expected. That's the tool that someone would use for that.
Yeah. How do you dismember a chicken? How do you cut it?
It's true.
Cauterizes the wound.
Lightsaber.
Yep.
That would probably be Johnny's answer.
Okay.
Lightsaber.
So they do not currently have a cause of death other than the fact that they think it was freezing, like the physical freezing of a live person.
The coroner goes into some sort of long sort of diatribe about what happens when the body becomes frozen, how there are certain chemicals that are released at the time of death, implying, and he just basically implies that based on preliminary analysis, the body was frozen, and that was the cause of death. Like the body just froze.
How long would it take a body to freeze from average human temperature to death?
Depends how cold it is.
Sure, but like, let's say like one of those.
The audience.
What are those like walk-in freezers is the easiest way to like kill somebody if you're gonna freeze them, right? Because like you literally lock the door and that's it. They can't get out. So how many hours, or is it days?
Maybe like 24 hours.
Hypothermia maybe
no,
sets in.
I think it's. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, for they would probably not. If they were wearing the clothes that are folded up neatly on the side, then it would take less than probably 2 or 3 hours for them to completely expire. But it would take quite a bit of time. Probably more than a day for it to freeze all the way through to the core, unless they were in a deep freezer.
I think that's the appropriate answer here. That's what I had in mind, at least.
And well, this is a separate question. It was one that came to my mind, is that when the body was dismembered with the cleaver, had it been thawed first, or was it still frozen when it was chopped up? Because
is that a question that Morrigan asks the coroner?
Yeah, I mean, I would try to get as much information from the coroner.
Well, yeah, it's the body was frozen when the cuts.
Yeah, it takes considerable strength to get through frozen body and bone.
Was there any bruising post-mortem is another question.
Yes. Mm-hmm. The bruising post-mortem, though, was based on the cuts. There were no other. That was based on the damage that was done to the body while it was frozen and as it thawed.
Oh, so no one held the limb and then went like this. They just went. That's messy.
So they were they single stroke cuts, or did it take multiple hits to get the limbs apart? Sorry, this is important. But yes.
Well, and there's the fact that, when someone is dying of hypothermia, they don't exactly lay out in a anatomical pose. They're usually curled up and shit, and it's harder to cut them apart.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm
my phrasing.
I'm kind of disappointed that Sam isn't here. She loves serial killer TV shows and loves these kinds of questions and answers. So we have conversations like this, at the dinner table, right?
Nice.
We were single cuts.
So one hit, done in done.
Fuck,
Efficiency.
Dude.
Okay, so this person's incredibly strong, probably a rift.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not saying this out loud, obviously.
A what?
Were there signs of frostbite on the body, or was it like a flash freeze? Because there's a big difference. Is like longevity of being frozen over time versus instantaneous, like frozen death.
Instantaneous frozen death.
Oh, we're fighting a Yeti!
Shit?
We're fighting a Yeti!
Ice Queen.
Or they were just
Frosty the
submerging.
Snowman.
Okay, we're fighting Mr. Freeze. Got it.
Wild man, why?
Frozone.
Okay. Do you guys have any other questions or ideas on questions I can ask the coroner?
What was he cauterized with? Or she cauterized with?
The head. Only the neck was cauterized.
No. What was the cauterization done with?
Coroner doesn't have any information in respect to the preliminary analysis. The only thing that the coroner knows at that point, though, is that it was the last thing that was done to the body. And that it looks like it was done on scene.
Is that why there's the pool of blood?
Everywhere but the head, yes.
Is there a marking under the head where the head is? Where they cleaved it off?
No, the cuts were done prior to being placed.
But the head, though.
If the head
but
was
the
done,
cauterization was done here.
The cauterization was done on the scene.
So it was a lightsaber.
but there's no markings from that. Whatever tool did that.
No, it's not the kind of thing where it was a clean cut, cauterized at the same time. All a lightsaber.
Yeah, no, I get whatever tool was used instantaneously cauterized it, right?
No, it's not obvious that it was instantaneous.
Oh.
It's just obvious that it was used at the scene. There are burn marks on the ground.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh.
What kind of patterns are the burn marks in? It's just like it.
69.
Gio, what were you doing there, man? The preliminary analysis, based on the conversation with one of the other crime scene investigators, would indicate that it was probably some sort of torch.
I was going to say, are there scorch marks on the floor? And what is this warehouse thing at the docks? This company, what do they do normally? Would there be a torch on site, or was it brought along with it?
Yeah, that have to definitely be investigative on the part of like where we are, like the dock.
So I will say that the company is definitely not something that would have that type of tool on hand. Anything else, yeah, it's going to require another investigation roll.
Yeah.
Based more than just the cursory, what is this building kind of a thing.
Right. I mean, do we know the company that's here? Is it like a familiar company, or is it just like some rando kind of?
Based on what the investigators know, it's an abandoned warehouse. It has been in business for over 20 years. At one point, it was a cannery. Then that there was machinery that indicating that it was a cannery, and then the last use was not a cannery, or was not.
She really lost her lid.
Aren't you the one that doesn't like?
He's getting used to it.
Great.
He's realized he can use them against us.
God damn it.
I mean, many dad jokes every single day for the last year and change, does change a man. So
It's slowly wearing me down.
Aren't you not supposed to change the one you love?
I'm not. I'm, I don't know. No.
Slightly manipulating.
So I am simply being myself, and if that happens to rub off on him, then that's what happens. Okay, sorry. Is there any other information that I can glean from this particular area of the crime scene?
Yes. The boots. When the boots were disposed of, or the booties were disposed of at the door, and the boots and everything, it was not obvious at the time. So any tracks to track those boots are now trampled on because of how much activity. And when you pointed out to Derek, he is not pleased about it as well. But he wasn't the first officer on the scene. So
Right. Yeah. Well, maybe they can get some kind of trace off of the inside of the booties or something. Who knows?
Ooh, are they dusting for fingerprints on the lid of the trash can?
They probably are now.
and they won't find anything.
Oh.
All right.
So that person
That's
either
what I
wore
figured.
gloves or they don't leave fingerprints.
Or they don't have hands.
Maybe they don't.
The phantom limb.
Okay. Is there any other questions you guys want me to ask while we're here?
There's a phantom head.
I don't think so.
Say what?
Oh, you was talking about a phantom limb. I mean, she's missing a head. All the other limbs are there, right? So it's
You ever watch Venture Brothers?
Floating around.
The head is like a limb.
Or not Simpsons, Futurama.
Yeah.
Obviously, the head is not anywhere here, right?
No, the head is definitely not at the scene of the crime, or what is implied as the scene of the crime. The rest, like as Derek explained to you, there were uniforms, canvassing the entire area, kind of looking around. Mm-hmm. But it's obvious that the investigation hasn't gone well so far because of the mistakes that were made in entering and all of that. So he doesn't have the greatest of hopes of finding the obvious evidence. They're gonna have to get lucky.
One last question.
One last answer.
So my question is, they obviously cut the head off here. Is there a blood trail of blood dripping from the head to a certain location and they put the head away, or is it trail off and no one noticed it yet because they're the best detectives of
Well, with
Metropolis?
cauterized wounds, they can't, there's no blood.
So yeah, we assume that the head was cauterized on both ends, or the neck was cauterized.
Well, it has
on both
to
ends.
be.
Well, maybe blood came from somewhere else, like her nose or her ears.
They could have been using a one-sided torch. You don't know.
I mean, I guess they could have technically cut the head and then cauterized only one side.
Yeah.
That seems really efficient.
Why
Anyway,
would they cauterize the neck?
Yeah.
For the torso, I don't understand.
You hold her by
Did
the
she
neck.
shit herself?
I whip my hand back and forth. I whip my hand.
Oh yeah, is there any hair fragments from the torch that left singed hair behind?
Singed hair on the head?
No, from the head, because okay, I have long hair. You take a freaking torch to my you know what I mean? If you go across, some of the hair is gonna get left behind.
So when the head was cut, based on the way the investigation is going, there were no indications of hair or skin or anything else at the scene.
Oh, so the head could have been. I mean, everything was cut off somewhere else, right? So the head,
for the head.
Probably never left wherever it was. They just brought the body here and then cauterized the neck here. Maybe. I don't know.
That's what he said. Yeah, the neck, like the head was separated here because of the scorch marks that are in the ground.
The head was separated. It seems based on the investigation that the head was separated here.
Oh.
However, when it was cut, as Morgan was implying, there could have been hair that was chopped from the head, as a part of that. But that did not happen. That was not a part of the crime scene. The crime scene was very meticulously clean at that particular part of the location.
Okay. I thought you said that all the limbs were taken off somewhere else.
Except for the head.
So the head was taken off here, potentially with fire?
No, it was cauterized with fire. With
the flaming sword.
That doesn't...
Okay. Wow.
You guys are spiraling out of control.
Yes.
Sorry, let's move on.
Question of this area.
Are we? Okay. No
Last
more
question
questions.
for this area is going to be, they cleaned everything. Is the entire floor clean, or is it just the crime scene specific section? Like, if it hasn't been used in 20 years, there should be dust and all that other crap everywhere, right?
Right.
So what areas have not been cleaned?
Good question. The entire office has been meticulously cleaned.
Rude. Okay.
There is a faint smell of chemicals.
Play-Doh.
Damn it.
No, he's been dead for a long time.
It's the rift of Play-Doh. That's what he's saying.
Okay. Well, I'm mostly out of questions of things I think that we can get answered
I don't
this.
got anything.
So,
In the office, I don't have anything.
unless there's a question that I've missed, somebody should speak up because you know me.
I do know you. We watch mysteries all the time. I think we asked all the questions.
I mean, there's definitely lots of other questions I could ask, but I don't know that we'll have the answers to that here. I don't think we will.
Probably not. I think we got all the answers that we can get from looking at the crime scene.
Yeah.
There's
Have you guys-
one other question that occurs to me.
Oh,
Who discovered it?
who discovered? Oh, yeah. Which
discovered
officer was the first on the scene?
No.
Who called it in?
Right.
Oh,
It was an anonymous tip.
of course it was.
Just
Those are the
Anonymous
best
phone
kind.
number, I assume?
Oh yeah.
They weren't able to trace it then. Okay.
Well, they're currently
With a-
trying to track it down, but
A
it's
voice changer, probably. Yeah.
Or it came from inside this office.
voice changer.
Johnny.
What?
Okay, so
Yeah.
what are we doing here? Is that the end of Morgan's kind of conversation with the different investigators?
No, but I
Okay.
don't want to keep taking up all the time on this. So.
Okay. All right, then we're going to cut to Johnny standing on top of a warehouse, adjacent to the warehouse where all of the craziness is going on, the crime scene is.
Well, as Johnny is like looking at all this and looking at the points of like ingress and egress, we're actually going to have a flashback.
Uh-oh.
Yes,
What's
we're
going on, man?
gonna flash back to the night before when Johnny was leaving the docks. Johnny probably walked by this area to head back home, and I don't know when this occurred, but if something, this is he probably would have noticed something, and he forgot about it because he. As he was like looking, and he's like, "Oh, that's really weird." And then he got a call from Geo, or a text from Geo, telling him, or a call where he was like, "Hey, don't go to Xanadu," or whatever he said, and that's where he got pissed off and walked home. So he wants to get a clue on what he saw when he looked over at that building. What caught his attention?
What caught his attention about that building?
Something got his attention about the building that evening, and he got distracted by the phone call, and he's remembering as he's like looking back at it, because he's remembering that this is his walking path as he went home.
All right, so that would probably be about 24 hours prior to this particular situation. So there's not going to be something obvious based on the current crime there, and here's the reason for that. Because it's already been implied that it was 12 hours the body was being thawed.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're looking to try to catch somebody in the act or catch something there, no.
Well, it might not necessarily be related to someone planting the body. It also could be someone scoping out the place to see, what it's like, or if this is a good place to place a body.
Or even just someone who he saw who seems to hang around these docks and who might have seen something.
All right. I think that's actually a great that is a great segue into what you do discover, which is there is a homeless guy who clearly appears to be camped out across the way. He's also taking an interest in the scene, and he obviously has like a good view of the sort of the entrance and the exit on these places.
Okay. I'm gonna slowly make my way to him.
Okay. And so he's just, you see him, he's, a guy in his probably late 60s, looks really dirty, but he's got like a little bit of a cardboard shack kind of built into a lean-to, and he's got like a dog that's kind of sitting out there in the front, and he's kind of watching the scene and smoking a cigarette as he's just kind of taking in the circumstances of what's going on across the way. It's almost like it's entertainment to him.
Okay. He might not see a lot of shit. I would approach him and I'd be like, hey.
What can I do for you, young man?
You were out here last night, weren't you?
I'm out here every night.
I was wondering, and as he's like pulling out, he's going through his bag, and he's pulling out like what he looks like as he opens the bag, a bunch of like foil pouches that are full of hamburgers. As he pulls one out, and he's like, I was wondering if you saw anything. Anyone like coming and going? And he's like handing him the burger.
Thanks. And he kind of unwraps it and he pulls out a little bit of the meat and he throws it to the dog.
No, I'll give him one too. And he hands a burger to him, and then he pulls out a burger and like sits down like across from him and like is eating and like listening to him.
There's not much going on in that building. I see people come and go. I don't often see people go into that building. So you have to be a little bit more specific there, son.
Well, what's the activity in that building recently?
I don't know. I mean, there's been this white van that's been there, on and off the last couple of days, and I think yesterday there was a little bit of activity, but I'm not supposed to talk about that. Thanks for the burger, and he starts.
No, but I'm gonna roll convince.
Okay.
Is he like trying to get up and walk away?
No, he's trying to turn and kind of focus on his dog. He's just, he thinks you get the impression that he thinks by turning, you're going to just disappear.
So, I'm going to roll student discounts as I am very good at haggling and trying to get what I want for this, to beat them at everything and to go all the way.
Okay.
I'm seeing if I got anything else.
Could use a crew tag. Go deeper.
Oh, I'll use the crew tag.
Nah. Yes, you can go deeper.
Okay.
But deeper into what?
To the questioning.
Sorry. First time I had to use it. I had to use it that way. Anyways, phrasing.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
Shut up. Shut up, man. Shut up.
So he's gonna look at him. Yeah, he's gonna do convince. I'm gonna roll. It's a +4. I can't. I'm gonna tag one of my other powers just for.
No, you can't. Just roll.
Do I get a story tag since I gave him a burger?
No, but here's why.
Okay.
So you gave him the burger. He gave you some information, and then he did the whole "oh, I shouldn't be talking to you" kind of a thing, right? So you already got some information that there was something amiss over the last couple of days. There was a white van there, kind of a thing, right? When we realized what he was saying, that's when he kind of shut down again. So you got the benefit of kind of earning his trust with the burger, and then he kind of got scared. So.
Okay, I'm gonna roll convince, and
Do it.
I have the
Do it.
PDF open.
Do it. Do it.
10.
Okay, so let's look at that. All right, so do you want to change his agenda?
Yeah.
Basically, do you want to make him think that it's important to answer your questions, or do you want to convey a status for him for the scene?
I want him to think it's important to answer my questions.
All right, so ask your next question. That goes with a convince.
What do you remember about the van?
I really... I shouldn't be talking about this.
No, it's okay, man. No, hey, look, no one else is around, dude. You're good.
It was some. You see the fear kind of playing across his face, and at the same time, he kind of looks down at your bag, your backpack. It was, and you see him kind of eyeing into your backpack. It was this.
Slowly, a burger is like in front of him, and he's like, "Yeah."
This. I don't know how old the guy was. He was an older guy, not as old as me, but not a youngin' like you. He was kind of dressed in a button-up shirt and pants, kind of balding, and he's carrying a bundle in there last night. Oh no, maybe that was more than morning. Just before sunrise. There's a lot going on in this here. There's bodies being dumped all the time. I just keep to myself, and they don't mess with me. But he had a lot of.
Does he work at the docks?
I've never seen this guy before in my life.
No, it's okay, dude. And he like pulls out like a canned soda and he like puts it in front of him.
And he pops it and immediately starts drinking, and he drinks the entire thing, and he kind of energizes a little bit with a sugar rush. Yeah, I didn't recognize any markings on the van. It was just a plain white van. And I'd not seen this guy before. He doesn't look like the normal ruffian types that hang out in this neighborhood. He was on his cell phone a lot for a good part of the morning after he deposited whatever it was that he left in that building. He woke me up because he was so loud talking. I don't think he saw me looking at him though.
Did you catch what he said?
No, not really. He was yelling at somebody.
And any words at all?
It was about payment of some kind. He was demanding to be paid. It wasn't his. It wasn't normal. Whatever it was he was doing, it wasn't the way he liked it.
What time was that phone call happening? You think? Morning?
Just before dawn.
Is it like 5 a.m. around there?
That's probably it.
Is anyone watching us right now have this conversation?
Nobody seems to notice that you're having a conversation with this guy, except for the possibility of Gio. Maybe Gio catches, gets sight of you.
He like leans in and he's like, "All right, but why are you so scared to talk to me? Who's gonna beat you up?"
You never know. I've seen some things, and the skulls they don't particularly like that I
Was this guy in the skulls?
Oh, no. They're all proud and wear their jackets, and this guy, he was dressed like a normal person.
Describe normal.
Like somebody from the suburbs. I don't know.
He had a button-up shirt. Did he wear jeans or nice slacks?
They were slacks. He did wear. He had some funny shoes on. It looked like they were like this light sort of bluish color, and they wrapped around something dark under them.
Interesting. Did the car have any license plates?
Oh, I didn't see it. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good, man. I think that's good. Here's another burger for the road and another drink.
Thank you. And he immediately starts to kind of scarf it, and he pulls half off and hands it to the dog.
And then as he's like eating, Johnny just kind of like wanders away.
And so as you're kind of moving away from him, you hear a little bit of ruffling, and when you look back, the shack is there. It's not obvious that he or the dog are there.
The shack?
The little cardboard shack that he had built under the lean-to, but he's not no longer standing outside. It's as if he's vanished almost.
Oh, okay. Oh well. I start a text with do I see Gio as I'm like walking away? Yeah.
Sorry,
okay.
I was just about to cut to Gio to find out where he was.
Yeah, Gio's not that far. If anything, he's probably trying to talk to the dock workers a little bit and figure out if any of them saw anything. But I assume they didn't.
So I mean, you start talking up the dock workers, and you find out most of them really don't pay attention to unless there's something going on.
Right.
There is a fair bit of information that you can probably glean from them if you want to do an investigate or maybe even a condense, kind of to get some details. How do you want to play this?
I guess I'd call it a convince. I just kind of want to get them to start talking, like not even necessarily to me, but just sort of start a conversation amongst themselves. So they're talking about, man, this place has been abandoned for years. My dad used to work here and stuff like that. So they just have their own back and forth, and I can listen in.
All right, so roll me a convince.
All right. I'll call this misdirection, good listener, fake smile, local rumors, people trust me.
Sure, Shulman's definitely going to come into that, though.
Is it? I don't know that I would call it showmanship, because I'm not like doing anything necessarily here. I
You're
would
starting
make a case potentially for man behind the mask, or
Man
we're
behind
all
the mask.
frauds.
Well, man behind the mask implies identity. It
Yeah,
sounds
I
like
suppose.
you're trying to convince them to have a conversation where you're. I guess frauds makes more sense than showman. But with showman, what was my thought there was that you were going to, because you're starting the conversation. You're just kind of you're playing it up, right? You're being right, and so that sort of implies that there is a little theatricality to what you're doing. But we're all frauds can totally apply here too. So
Okay.
right.
Let's go with that and roll convince. Great success.
All right. So, based on the description, I'm just going to say that you're going to change their agenda versus implying like a status, because you're not really engaging with them. You're trying to get them to engage themselves. So, conversation just kind of starts, talking about this, and it's exactly that. My old man used to work here 20 years ago when it was a cannery. Blah 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 blah. And then they're talking about how the equipment was sold off and the machines were, but then for a short time it was a different type of food packing plant, and I believe the freezers are still there. They're just kind of in the back, sort of off in a corner, but the food freezers are still there, and it's. I used to play hide and seek here as a kid. When it was run down between businesses, and one kid got locked in there one time, and he almost died. But just they go on and on and on. Just telling stories, basically.
Great. I'll just text Morrigan, check the freezers.
Does that mean that Johnny also texted about the individual at the same time, basically?
Sort of.
Yes.
I did. I texted. So I imagine like a lot like what we see is that like Johnny's like leaving, that guy disappearing, and Gio is like making his way, and they're both like walking towards each other texting.
Morgan, you received 2 texts almost at the same time with all of those. And with that, we're going to cut to Cal. It's obvious to you that Harold and Trisha are incredibly uncomfortable with each other. It's not just bad blood, in a sense. There is a deep-seated level of uncomfortability here that extends back to family gatherings or family situations. So there's a bit of formal sort of how are you doing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Very sterile, sort of.
Exactly. And so you're given an opportunity to kind of observe this, and you realize that one of the reasons why you were brought here is to kind of unseat that circumstance in some way. Based on the description that Harold had said previously to you, it becomes obvious almost immediately that you are here to grease the wheels in some way between him and Trisha. And so after the polite conversation happens, food orders go through, there is a lull in the conversation. And Harold looks to you and he says, "Well, Cal, I'm going to make my proposal now. And I would hope that you can help me convince my sister to accept the terms of my agreement." And she looks at Harold and then looks at you, and there is a lot of like uncertainty and concern on her face, and she says, "Mr. Gannicus, who exactly are you?"
Well, outwardly, I am primarily a food and wine reviewer. My purpose is to experience the wondrous aspects of life and show other people where to find them. As such, I am a teacher of sorts, an explorer and teacher. But within the bounds of this particular social engagement, I believe my role falls closer to arbiter. Whereas Harold's phrasing might have been slightly more one-sided than I would prefer, my purpose here is to listen to both sides, and if I can help, to find through third-party viewpoint some middle ground that will benefit you both and allow you guys to come to some sort of an agreement.
Do you know the conversation that we are, or the agreement that my brother is proposing here?
No.
And you see Harold get all kind of blustery and about to say something as you say no. And she kind of smirks a little bit.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I want to be very, very specific in this. Even if I did know what his portion of the proposal is, I want to hear what you believe his portion of the proposal is. Or to hear your perspective on what he's talking about, not his perspective of what he's talking about. So please.
I sit on the board of directors for the Walker Foundation. My brother originally wanted to be the chairman of the board. He wants control of what that nonprofit organization does. Now, he has changed his tactics and is recommending that I step into that place and serve as his proxy as chairman, since he clearly cannot get the votes and he thinks that I can. My brother has made some terrible blunders, and you see just out of the corner of your eye Harold getting all blustery and getting really red. His heart might be in the right place, but his intentions are what I would suggest to be unconscionable. So, now that I've told you, are you sure you want to help my brother in this circumstance? Because I'm here out of courtesy and respect for my brother. Our father asked me specifically to be here. And all of Harold's plots and schemes will not. It's the getaway car. Will not.
Big white van driving by outside.
Okay, well that would now my mind is someplace else. God damn it. She looks at you and she says, none of his schemes, plans, convincing, coercion have worked so far. And I'm not sure what else he's done to other members of the board. But he will not get my vote.
Allow me to question more particular on that particular thread. The schemes and whatnot to acquire votes for him to take on the chairman role. No. So
originally, he wanted those votes, but no matter what I do or what he has done, I have outmaneuvered him to make sure that he is not in charge of the Walker Foundation.
And you do not want that position, or you don't want that position as his proxy.
My brother exerts a tremendous amount of influence in this particular city. If I was given a position of power, I am sure that he would manipulate the situation or take matters into his own hands to try to coerce me.
That is not a yes or no. Do you want the position or not?
No, I do not want the position.
So you do not want the position. He no longer wants the position or claims, but he wants you to have it so that potentially he could manipulate you when it suits his purposes.
I do not believe he serves the best interests of the individuals that the Walker Foundation is charged with taking care of. Are you familiar with the Walker Foundation?
I am somewhat familiar with it, yes. And I am very sad to say that I was at Fogg's Brew the day that Mr. Walker
was murdered.
That is a much more polite way of saying what I was about to say, yes.
Would it bother you if I told you that I believe my brother was directly responsible for his murder, Mr. Gannicus?
Potentially.
Then you understand my hesitation in giving my brother what he wants. Harold, at this point, by the way, is drinking significantly to try to keep from entering because he knows that the negotiations has basically begun.
I do recognize some of it. However, as you said, you are here out of respect for your brother and at your father's request. Now, Oscar and I have a bit of a history as well, so I can definitely understand that.
My father only wants what's best for his family. He thinks that the disagreements that we have had, and she looks over at Harold, these disagreements have not served the family well, and I would agree. The business has suffered. And when he eventually stepped down, my father made a poor choice in handing the responsibility to Harold. I do not imply or attempt to imply that that is the reason for my refusal. It is his actions afterwards. Whatever family feud, whatever bad blood is between us, this is specifically about his actions as an individual and the responsible for Aesir Industries after he became CEO. I do not think he will serve the purposes of the people the Walker Foundation serves.
Then who would you see in that role?
I'm sorry. My hope had been that Phoebe would step into that role. Phoebe Dirae, if you're familiar, but she has since, she gets really uncomfortable for just a second and says, vanished.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand the circumstances around that. I understand the three sisters, and there's an emphasis on three, are gone. I haven't seen my good friend Megan in a long time. It's been a couple of weeks. But it is vitally important that somebody like Phoebe steps in, someone who cares for those less fortunate in this city, and not be at the whim and mercy of my brother.
And Calvin kind of turns his head towards Harold. Your response?
He kind of raises his, as he's trying to collect himself, as another large, glass of beer, ale. He kind of downs it again, and you can just see that the blood is pumping under his skin. And what my sister does not understand, you see that he's gritting his teeth as he's talking, is that Aesir Industries can provide a great many more resources directly if we are responsible and in control for those that come under the care of the Walker Foundation. Repeatedly, I tried to work with Gerald Walker, but he refused based on what he said he implied that I had, which was loose morals. All I'm asking is the opportunity to help those of us that need it.
If Aesir Industries has the means and motive to help these people, what difference does it make whether the Walker Foundation is involved or not? Those resources could very easily be applied to the same group of people. And if I remember correctly, I don't want to say that charity is not one of the things that is in the business model of Aesir Industries, but humanitarian causes are not chief among the branches in which Aesir is often found to operate.
Are you saying this to Harold?
Yes.
Okay. He looks at you, smiles, and for the first time you're uneasy. And that is exactly why the Walker Foundation is so important. We do not have the means to immediately help those in need, those of us who need our help in this city. They have 70 years of resources and know-how and understanding of those that are most important in this city, those of us, those who need our help. The Walker Foundation, Mr. Gannicus, I keep fucking up your name.
It's okay. I know who you're talking to.
Yes, the Walker Foundation. They have been operating since the end of the Second World War. They have been doing this for an incredibly long time. They have the ins and outs of this entire city. At 70 plus years, don't you think that that is a valuable resource to use rather than spend millions of dollars just to try to duplicate that effort? Don't you think that my millions of dollars would help them much more quickly if they were used through an organization whose focus has been that from its beginning? Yes.
However, that does not require that Aesir Industries completely incorporate the
I am not suggesting
you want me to help you with this or not?
Excuse me, you are my employee here. For this night alone, you are my employee.
And what is my purpose?
Your purpose here is to convince my sister that you have the right answer in this situation, and that answer is my agenda. And my agenda is simple. Let me be very clear. I stated this before. I want to be able to help those people. I did not say that Aesir Industries would acquire. This is not a hostile takeover. I just want the information and the resources applied appropriately. If it means acquisition of the Walker Foundation as an arm of Aesir Industries, that is perfectly fine. If it means that it is a completely separate organization, that is also fine. Those were your words that this is a hostile takeover, an acquisition. All I'm implying is that we want to be able to gain access to those resources. My sister is implying that I want control. At that, you hear a little bit of a giggle from Trisha. And that's exactly what he wants.
Wait,
Control.
and I just hold a hand up there and say, wait, may I finish what I was saying before you interrupted me, Harold?
We're waiting.
Is that a yes?
You see the anger on his face kind of play out as he gets really red again. Yes.
Thank you, sir. To complete my thought, I was going to say it does not require a complete and total acquisition. One could simply make a substantial donation in partnership with the Walker Foundation. This would give them access to your means and your resources. It would also provide you access to theirs. And moreover, it would play beautifully in the press. I'm not talking about taking over the Walker Foundation. I'm talking about a partnership, which is what I am trying to do here, because you and I, earlier this evening, when you said that I was going to be in your employ, and my purpose here was to convince her that your answer is the right one, I said immediately thereafter, we discussed negotiation and your willingness to budge. That is the part of the conversation we are at. Finding the middle ground in this negotiation. Now, if you don't want that, then you've clearly hired the wrong person and you may fire me immediately. However, if you want any chance of success, be willing to negotiate. I apologize, Miss Dirae, please. Not Dirae, sorry.
Bjorn.
Miss Bjorn, please continue.
Trisha looks from you to Harold and back to you. If you can convince me that my brother will not be in total control of the person that takes on the chairman of the board for the Walker Foundation, then I will agree to give support to that person. But Mr. Gannicus, you need to convince me.
You mean beyond ink and paper, I presume?
Contracts are not of interest to me.
So
a good handshake is.
And Galvin will just look over at Harold like, do we continue?
He looks at Cal, looks back at Trisha, looks back at Cal, staring straight into Cal's eyes. He says, "Okay, Trisha, what are you suggesting that we do then?" And you hear a giggle. Well, I believe that Mr. Gannicus here would be the perfect candidate to be chairman of the Walker Foundation. And we're going to cut back to Morgan.
I knew that was coming. I just want to say that out loud. In my brain, I was like, just wait for it.
I'm a little upset that they did not pick Johnny's name to take over the Walker Foundation.
Well, Johnny, this is obviously just an intermittent position until Johnny turns 18.
Obviously.
I just imagine Johnny with a bunch of papers like, ah!
All right. So I got this text from Geo saying to find the freezer that's supposedly still functioning here. So that's what I'm going to be doing after, I let Derek know my current analysis of things and the kind of pieces that we put together with the death and the instantaneous freezing effects that the coroner was speaking of and things like that.
Okay. How do you go about finding?
I would probably try to logically piece together based on the locations of or the areas of the building, right? It's not going to be up top. That's silly. So it's going to be on the bottom floor. Is there a basement in this place?
There is a basement, and there's a loading ramp that leads down into the basement, which leads directly to the freezers.
Yeah, I was going to say probably in there then. Yeah, so I'll go there.
Active.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, we were privately DMing our own text messages. He said that they were supposedly still active based on the information that Geo got from the other dudes.
That's correct.
Yeah, so as I'm on my way down, I'm gonna go and text Geo and tell him to very, very carefully and not suspiciously at all try to get to the loading dock so I can get him in.
Okay, then we're gonna cut quickly to Geo. This sounds like a sneak around, buddy. How are you going to do this?
So how's this warehouse looking? Is there a back door that the cops aren't really focusing on?
There are you see a couple of uniformed officers kind of, walking around the perimeter of the place, but they're mostly checking, the doors and stuff, kind of making sure, looking for, any obvious evidence, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Is Johnny with you at this point? Because you guys were walking.
Johnny's back with Geo now.
Yeah,
Okay.
Then if they're both together, obviously you can relay that information to him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm caps locking, very carefully, do not be seen kind of deal.
Oh, you just want to take the roofs?
Sure, why not?
You guys got to go all the way to the basement, though. Morgan is telling you where you guys need to get to, so
Yeah, my thought is go to the roofs and then drop down to when no one's there, and just go through the back door. Even if it's locked, Johnny can open it.
Well, Morgan would have opened it from the inside.
Okay.
Yeah.
It would have been noisy, but yeah. So I would be like, all right, hop on.
You're making that face like that time that
With the crow?
The crows. That's exactly what I was thinking.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
It's not quite as dramatic, but Geo stops and thinks for a minute. I could get up there on my own, but I won't.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
All right. He's got him carried. Is it the carrying a bride
Across the
through?
threshold?
Yeah, across the threshold, carry, or is he jumping on his back and then
I'll jump on your back.
Okay. He's he looks and he's like, oh, okay, and then he goes and then jumps up to the roof and he's like, hold on, and then they jump up there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's not the building that we're going to. He's gonna jump from building to building to building, and then get to the one he needs to, and then look down to see if he sees anyone down at the door that we're looking for that was described to him.
Okay. And so you were able to eventually get to that point. You kind of navigate your way, to the building, on top of the building, and then down. I'm going to need a sneak roll from one or both of you in this particular case to see how easily you get down to the bottom. So I don't care if
use a crew tag, innocuous or whatever.
Oh,
whatever
yeah,
that one
good.
was.
Who wants to roll it?
I think
Geo's probably better at the sneaking around parts.
Okay, sneak.
And the crew tag definitely makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll go ahead and roll it. I'm gonna try and first distract the cops.
Okay.
I think before going out there, even in the kind of conversation that's happening with the dock workers, he'll just try and get someone to basically try and ask some of the cops around what's going on, so that they'll kind of pull them away for at least a little bit, so they're having a conversation while we're doing this.
Okay.
And so I'm going to go ahead and throw in misdirection, people trust me, tricks of the trade, and the crew tag of innocuous.
We're all frauds or showmen?
Showman.
Okay.
And stick around. Let's see. Great success.
Thank God. I was holding my breath, man.
Everyone that should fall for it falls for it.
Oh, well, wouldn't it be another
These are the
one
best
because
rolls I've
we
ever
had
had.
innocuous on there.
He did.
Oh, he added that in there? Okay.
He added that, and then there was a weakness tag.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, and so you're able to kind of make your way to the basement where Morrigan is, and she's kind of looking nonchalant, looking at the freezers, kind of assessing the situation. The doors are closed. It's obvious that nobody else has been here yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When you guys show up, don't touch anything. If you're going to open something, use your sleeve. No fingerprints.
Yeah.
Okay. He holds up his shirt and he's opening the first door and he's like, where are the cops?
They're not down here.
Are they bad at their job?
No, they've got their hands full with the crime scene itself.
I mean, okay.
If
They're bad at their job, and he just opens the door.
So as you open the door to the freezer, it is this wave of cold kind of hits you, and there is a fair amount of like moisture, sort of in like a fog kind of a form, right? As it just kind of billows out, right? And it's really just it's thick as it's in there, but it's just kind of billowing out, and that cold air is kind of washing over you. And it's an incredibly large freezer. You can see that there's three, little doors essentially that kind of off into different sections, right? But that first entrance area is kind of just wide open, and then there are the three doors that kind of go off to the side. There's one to the left, one to the right, and one in front of you.
And there's other freezers down here, or just the one?
This is the one big freezer that you saw. There looks to be a couple of other smaller freezers, but this is the first one that you grabbed for.
Okay. I was like, this is really big. What do you guys want to do?
Just keep the door open.
Someone should stand outside.
Yes.
I don't like the idea of any of us getting trapped in the freezer.
Do you want me to stay? Or you want me to go in there?
I mean, how many? You said 3 rooms inside?
There's 3 rooms.
Yeah. Well, Morgan's gonna just kind of walk in and look around. Are they far apart, or are they?
It's a pretty big freezer, right? This is a big
Okay.
there's a big area here, and then there's a doorway, essentially an arch that leads into another section of this freezer, and
Gotcha.
those are the 3 sections. So just so we understand the scene in my mind, when you say that you don't want anybody to get locked in, it seems like Johnny would be strong enough to kind of open the door regardless, or almost strong. But
Yeah.
does somebody hold the door open?
That's what I
Johnny's
asked
holding the
Johnny.
door open right now. He's like, oh,
Okay.
oh hi.
Yeah.
And so, Gio, what are you doing?
I'll walk in with Morrigan, I think.
Okay, are you guys going to look at these individual rooms together, or these individual like sections together?
What do you think? Together or split up?
I mean, they're not that far. Like they're within shouting distance, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't see a reason for us to. I can't imagine each of the rooms are just as big as this one, so
Yeah.
more like probably storage areas. So I'll like peek into the first one, I guess.
Mhm.
You peek into the first one, and there is. Wait, so I need to know: is Gio with you or not?
He's in the main area with me, but we're not going into each of the rooms.
Okay.
We're like looking at the threshold into it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you peek into the room. We're going to say the room off to the right. You look down, you look into it, right? There's a bit of moisture, in mist form, kind of swirling around, and there's a table sort of in the center of this otherwise sort of like shelves kind of around it. But otherwise the room looks empty, but you'd have to go inside that room to get a look, a feel for it.
Mm-hmm. Gio, what do you see in like at a brief glance in the other room that you're looking at?
I'll take a glance through the other door.
The left or the center?
The center.
Okay. You look into the center, you don't really see, you see the same exact thing, right? There's sort of like, there's shelving, there's a table in the center of it, right? And it's a fairly big room, but not gigantic, right? But there's enough like fog in there, cold air condensed, just kind of, you can't really get a good look at it. Like you'd have to step inside to really get a good understanding of what's in the room, if there's anything at all.
Hard to see without getting close, I guess.
I got vagueness of table maybe and shelving.
Yeah, same. Looks pretty empty, I think, but I don't know.
All right. What about the last room?
The last room is the same.
Yep. Okay.
There is a fair bit of fog in there. You can make sort of the outline, but you can't really get a feel for everything in the room because you're just seeing, basically reflection of the light and reflection off of that. So
yeah,
go in to really kind of to investigate.
No, which room do you want to go in?
They say with labyrinths you're supposed to follow the left wall, right? Let's go there.
Sure. I've been through lots of labyrinths in my life.
What? There's a maze?
No, Johnny.
Don't worry. No, a metaphor.
Oh, before we go crazy here, I just want to let you guys know that based on the body that I saw, I think it was whatever happened to it was done by somebody that was like us.
What makes you say that?
The sheer amount of strength that would be required to do the dismemberment is.
It was dismembered?
Something. Yeah, the body was frozen and then dismembered. Sorry, I know I'm giving you pieces here. I'm a little bit overwhelmed because.
Well, that dude's not actually here. Whoever was here was driving a white van. He was balding. He had like suburban clothes or something like that. Nice slacks, button-up T-shirt. He had blue covers on his feet when he was leaving.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw it in the trash can.
No, when he was leaving.
What?
Was it Johnny? Was it when he was leaving, or was it?
No, the guy only saw him talking on the phone with it, and it was never implied that he was leaving when that happened. He just happened to see him talking at 5.
Oh, I thought because he said he left in the morning. I thought the dude left with blue covers on his feet.
No, I didn't specifically say that, and I didn't mean to imply that. If that was what you.
Because he said because he went inside, he brought a bundle in, and then he came out and he got in a heated argument on his way out. Yeah, without being paid, and then he had blue things on his feet when he went in.
Right, but I wasn't implying that was when he actually left the scene.
Okay. He dropped off a bundle at least, and when he came back out, he was on the phone around dawn, was 5 a.m. I guess. He basically he was had blue covers on his feet.
Yeah. So. My guess is the guy, whoever he is a cleaner of some kind, or I don't know, hired to do this task. If you're saying he's been waiting to be paid for it, so I don't know if he actually did the deed or not. But
well, I mean, I'm not a criminal, but I don't think I would try to leave evidence behind.
Unless it was there left intentionally. Especially if there's nothing else in the trash can.
I don't
What's the
know.
room
But
We knew we would find it. I don't understand. Anyway,
Is this
if you
place
said they were
open?
frozen to death, this is definitely the place to look.
yeah, I probably should have just not said anything.
Well,
Needless to say, please keep the door open, Johnny.
it really doesn't matter if it closes or not.
Unless there's some kind of crazy stuff that happens which prevents it from being open even to you. So yes, it does. Please
I'll
just
punch
leave it
through
open.
it. Well, if I can't punch through the door, I'll punch through the ceiling.
Okay. My point is this. Let's just not leave everything to chance and keep the door open, okay? Really don't feel like dying today. Or ever, but mostly not today right now in a freezer where my body can be then dismembered and put on display. Not thinking about it.
Alright, I'll sit at the door. He's just holding the door open.
We're going
Like,
into the left room,
Yeah.
me and Gio.
He has his foot in the door, and he's just like watching out the crack. Honestly, that's all he's doing.
Right.
You go into the first room, you step in, the fog is again still just kind of swirling in there. It's coming out and going towards the warm spot, the change in air pressure because of the warm and cold. But it's still kind of swirling around a bit, and as you step in, you get closer to the table, you can see the back of the room now. And you see that the shelving kind of goes all the way around.
Mm-hmm.
And on the back shelf, there appears to be something just about, eye level placed on a shelf back there.
Is it really dark in here?
It's not super dark, but it's between the swirling of the moisture, the condensed moisture that looks like a fog and everything else. It's still really hard for you to kind of make it out. It's kind of, it's just there. It's just
Okay.
there, behind it. It's just really hard to see. You can't really get a focus on it.
Yeah, I've got my phone out with like the flashlight function and like moving forward towards and like shining the light on that particular thing.
Okay, well, as you get closer and closer to it, you realize that it kind of looks round.
Like a head?
And as you get closer and closer, it's a head. And as you get closer and closer, Morrigan, you look at the eyes and you recognize the face. It's the head of Sydney White. And that's where we're going to end it.
Ooh.
Who's Sydney White?
Who's Sydney White?
You don't know. You don't know.
Also, there's a very brief conversation going on in private chat with me and Tren that just got destroyed by that.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't. This was exactly where I was going with that question.
What was the question, just out of curiosity?
If the body was in the freezer here, what was the bundle the guy with the van had?
Okay.
Yeah, and to which I assumed was the head, but this does not answer that then.
We just have more
It
questions,
was
Johnny.
it was like right as I said, like I would assume it's the head, but I don't know. I don't know the head was missing in character yet either. And it was right as I said that it was like it's the head.
Loke, I'm sorry, I think I broke her.
No, after the show gets over, I'm gonna like walk out of here, and my cat's gonna die for attention, and she's gonna be like, "What the fuck?" And I'm gonna be like, "Okay." We're
And
not
you're gonna
going to
shake
sleep
and be
until
like, "Who is
3
Sydney
a.m."
White?
And then I'm gonna get up in like 2.5 hours to go to work, and I'll be like all tired at work, and I'm like, "Why you look so tired?" You wouldn't understand, man. And that's literally what
No,
happened.
you're gonna look at him and go, the head of Cindy White, and they're gonna be like, "Who the fuck is Cindy White?" You're like, exactly.
I hate
Why
you.
is it gotta be white?
Fantastic. Oh God, now I want to know. I hate cliffhangers.
We've got 2 more episodes to figure it out.
Yeah.
You've got 2 good cliffhangers from this episode, and I'll just
Yeah.
I still haven't seen last night's episode, so I don't even know if they found anything out or they're on a wild goose chase. And
would you like me to answer that question very quickly for you?
Just tell me
save you
goose
3 hours?
chase.
Huh?
Is it goose chase?
Yes and no. So they found exactly who Gephardt wanted to find, but it didn't end the way that Gephardt wanted it to. However, Flora had one hell of an evening.
Yes, she did.
I'm guessing that's like a coy play on words.
Minus dessert.
Yeah, right. She was just drinking whiskey, which I think Meta's going to go find some of right now.
Minus dessert? No.
Morgan is gonna like lose her fucking mind in the next episode. Like, this is, you guys don't understand how bad this is for everybody. Like,
I don't.
Really?
You're right,
I
I
don't
don't.
know who Sydney White is.
Everybody. This is like if the equivalent of D&D were to happen, this is me rolling willpower because that's about to happen. Like, that shit's about to go down.
Oh no.
So remember
Geo's
when I
dead.
said I had a plan for Morrigan's backstory?
Yeah, no. I love it. I hate you, but I love it.
I just want to let you know that this is just the start of that.
Yeah, no, I'm not surprised at all. And I can't wait.
Yeah, it would be
But I
really
still
weird
hate
if that were the end of it. Like, oh, it's just her head.
Well,
Don't
no, it's-
worry about it. Nothing else is going to come up regarding it.
Who
No,
is Sydney White?
You'll find out.
I was going to say, you will find out. I kept expecting the freezer door to just slam shut and just to hear this
Yeah.
chuckle. And like, we never see you guys again.
Let's just mention the fact that
foot's literally
we
in the
dropped
door.
hints the entire episode
Yeah, the chuckles
about
from Johnny.
something that happened before. Because it's very similar to what happened before. And Morrigan was afraid it was what was happening before. And thus...
My current theory is that Morrigan is the Butcher Maiden.
Great.
I could see it.
I can't do
That's
it's
no
also the
more
Maiden
hypocritical
Butcher.
than anything else she's done so far.
You guys would know the Maiden Butcher by case name. It was very
Yeah.
public. Very, very serious.
I will strongly say Johnny does not.
Johnny probably knows about it. Like, of it.
Johnny's like fucking Iron Maiden something, whatever. It's a comic books. That's,
This would be the kind of thing that would border on nailing almost every facet of pop culture and current news. This would be very timely and relevant. Even Johnny was probably just out of puberty at that point, probably, because it's implied that it's a couple years old, right?
Yeah, several.
Yeah, it would be Johnny as Johnny is just becoming more aware of the world. This would be a very large case, and for Cal and Geo, this would strike fear into them.
Mhm.
So,
Were there spunky hyenas involved?
sadly, no.
I agree.
Although
That is very sad.
All right. We got to wrap things up here. So let's go around to our cast, get final thoughts and shout outs and all that good stuff. So let's go over to Meta. I'm sure you have thoughts.
I don't even know where to start, guys. This is insane. Like, I'm really, really excited about this part of the story just because of how timely it is with where Morrigan's psyche is at that present state. She's very fragile already. And so this is going to be as far as a character moment goes, I can guarantee you in the next episode or two that some epic shit's about to go down from Morrigan's perspective. And it's not because of other people other than this one person, that you guys have never met before. So, yeah, I'm very, very excited and scared also for everybody's well-being right now. Yeah, so that's one thing on that front. I'm super anxious about Cal's interactions with Harold, obviously not in character, but as a person, and what that means, because I am struggling with the fact of who to believe right now. do we believe Trixie or do we believe Harold, or are they both wrong? You know, that kind of thing. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm having a moral dilemma right now when it comes to those two people.
Or are they playing us?
Well, that's what I mean. Is like it's hard to tell given the people that they are right now. Yeah. And so, like, I love the mystery there. Just again, more questions than answers, especially for you guys. Who the hell is Sydney White? So an episode full of questions. I really enjoyed today's episode. I love that it was super investigative, and that we got to really dive deep into weird, nuanced things about serial killers and murder. But I'm Metamancer. You guys can find me on Twitch at Metamancer or on Twitter at the Metamancer. Tomorrow night, if you guys are not doing anything else, there's going to be a 40K Dark Heresy game on my channel at 6 o'clock. And it's super awesome because my character has a sister of battle for a girlfriend, and it's awesome. So anyway, that's my stuff. And hope you guys get a chance to tune in.
Yeah, absolutely. Go follow Meta. She's super awesome, both on this show and off. And God, I loved everything that she did today, and everything. Oh God, I'm terrified for your backstory, because like as terrifying as Morrigan is as a character, like the backstory has to be worse.
It is so much more worse than you can possibly fathom.
And she has no idea what I have been planned for her backstory. It's going to be ridiculous.
Here's the thing. When we're making characters, or when she was making the character, she talked to me about some stuff. I don't remember who the fuck Sydney White is.
That scares me even more.
That is a beautiful thing, and she is going to hold that over your head for a long time, I'm sure.
It would be even worse if you guys lived together.
Yeah, but that's obviously not true.
Right.
That's not been proven yet.
I imagine the pillow talk is less about, personal relationship, and it's like, well, so what happens if this clue plays out and it's this way, right?
There's a lot of table talk in the bedroom.
Well, that's a different kind of role play for late night.
As I said, we'll be
speaking of a different kind of role play, Trendane.
Yeah, that would be me. So I have been Calvin Gannicus. I will now be food and wine reviewer. I will now, from this point on, apparently be Calvin Gannicus, chairman of the Walker Foundation and fist puppet of Harold Bjorn. But I'm a little bit okay with that.
Only the physical part of it,
right? Yeah. As long as there's no. It's like when you go to a stable and they grab a cabin glove and they're like, we only go in as high as the cuff. Don't worry about it. It's like, no, God. Anyway, so I am a professional voice actor, personage kind of thing, and here towards the end of the month, you will be able to hear me in the BattleTech video game that will be coming out then, and the BattleTech audiobook, which fingers crossed will be coming out at the same time. If the publishers will get back to me with the corrections feedback, tell me what I screwed up on, if anything. And I just finished narrating another short story for the Escape Pod, which I don't know when they're going to put that up on the site, but that's up there. And then I don't remember if I've been told that I could talk about that other thing or not. Never mind. Err on the side of no until we figure that out. And hopefully, fingers double caught, not hashtag, double fingers. Well, I'll interlace them there that way. Now I've forgotten where I was going with that. So yeah, all right, you guys are.
Whatever it is, I'm hoping for it.
Yeah, me too. I think, if it's not bad. If it comes to me, I'll thing, McLoken.
Hi, I'm McLoken. You can catch me at twitch.tv/McLoken on my shows on Wednesday called Chosen, which is a Final Fantasy D&D kind of game. I also do this show, obviously. Sometimes I don't know if I'm really here or if any of us are really here, but it's a great time. And then tomorrow I'm going to be on a little campaign called Firebrand, a Warhammer 40k Dark Heresy. It's fantastic because I'm Judge fucking Dredd. Saturdays, I don't do anything on Saturdays that is online. That'll be posted on Monday, which is a little show called Beyond the Mist, where we talk about discussing the game and how to play the game and helping you guys learn one video at a time. So please go to the 6 and 20 YouTube channel and follow along as we talk about stuff to help you guys along. And then Sundays I'm on Call of Cthulhu with Metamancer. We're not on this week because people are at PAX East. And then and if you guys saw yesterday, if you guys go to my channel, I'll probably upload it to my YouTube too. I did a one shot of City of Mist last night, where everyone got mad at the end of the game because I ended it. So that's always a good sign. And now I kind of want, when BattleTech comes out, I want to get it. So whenever Trend's character starts talking to me, I'd be like, "God damn it, Trend, I know," and like play the game and just talk to Trend and not the character. So yeah,
me too. Me too.
But tonight was very interesting. We got to see the return of Johnny, the boy detective and champion of the homeless, who just disappeared. So Johnny's going to look into that one later. But now he's got a bunch of people in a freezer freaking out. And he doesn't know why.
Only one of them is freaking out, really.
Well, yeah, like,
yeah.
Well, true.
So far.
One of them's gonna be like super freaking out, apparently. Because I honestly thought when, like, okay, a couple things that happened tonight. I thought Cal was gonna die because Harold Bjorn turned into a tomato, and was going to explode him with like a punch, or something. Or Cal's just got balls on him. That's
like his thing, yeah.
Yeah, and then when the head turned around, I was expecting Phoebe's head to be down there, but then when he said Sydney, I was like, oh, Sydney Poitier. Oh, it's sad tale. I literally, that's in my head when he was like, oh, and it's Sydney, and I was like, Poitier in my head, and I was like, then all I could picture is Sydney Poitier's head like coming around, and I was like, well, this takes it out. And then he's like, Sydney White. And I was like, who the fuck's Sydney White? Like, how is that supposed to be relevant to me? And then Meta had a breakdown on her screen, and I was like, so yeah, it was really fun tonight. I had a great time. Got to see Sneaky Johnny, and I got to use Flashback, which once when you have the spotlight once per session, you can use a flashback to get a clue or a juice in a certain situation. So that's one thing. Like going through the book and then like actually like DMing it, I was like, oh yeah, there's a lot of things I could be doing. So
which book?
That would be the lovable 6 and 20 book that you can get at. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Go click that link down below. Use the code 6 and 20 fan. Get $5 off, everyone. I mean, do you like a good deal? There you go. And it's 500 pages of awesome. If you don't like a good deal, get the fuck out of my face.
It's not just 500 pages of awesome. There is a comic book that is woven into the thing. It is an incredible read.
Look, there's a page of the comic book right now.
Right
Look.
there.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a story woven within the comic, and
fantastic.
I'm slowly getting through. I'm reading through the book and reading bits of the comic and going like, interesting. Good day.
It's so good. It's so beautiful.
You need to say that like Jodie Foster. It's so beautiful.
Sorry, I haven't seen whatever movie Jodie Foster said that in.
Contact.
I haven't seen Contact in a long time. I wouldn't remember that.
Oh my God! Wait a minute. I
was gonna go Taxi Driver.
Wait a second. Wait a second. Trend.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching Ready Player One last week or whatever.
Uh-huh.
They use the spell from Excalibur. in a very significant point, and I was flipping out because nobody else in the theater got it but me.
You mean Anal Nafrach?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Isn't that movie just all
Right.
third-party references?
We get it. You're
No.
nerds.
Stop.
All
Sorry,
right,
I just
Johnny, Video Store Cowboy. Tell us about who you are besides just the fact that you're a giant nerd.
If you're done, McLoken, that is.
Yeah.
Are you done,
I
McLoken?
think I'm done.
Okay, just checking. All right. Yes, fine, Johnny, you may go.
Thank you, Tren. I appreciate that segue.
Yeah.
Video Store Cowboy everywhere except Twitter. We're 13 characters, so it's Vid Store Cowboy. I really love you, Twitter, for your 15 character limit. GM for 6 and 20. Just for a quick announcement, so the scheduled Tuesday show from this week will actually be happening next Monday. So you'll get 4 days of 6 and 20 next week. Monday night, or Monday 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. On Video Store Cowboy, and then again the normal week will start on Tuesday, where we start actually at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. So I just want to make that quick announcement. I loved how everything played out tonight because you all did amazing in respect to responding to the situations that were coming up to you. The investigation was a lot of fun because there were serial killer elements that I had been wanting to drop in a game for a really long time, and I'm so glad that they finally fucking came up, and this game is so beautiful for that. The trailhead that this is for Morrigan has been brewing in my brain from the moment that I read her backstory, so I'm finally glad that that's getting introduced, and it does have relevance to the actual investigation that you were on. I can't wait till you guys figure that out. My favorite part, though, honestly, was the way that Cal handled those two characters as they were communicating, and the way that you just basically commanded Harold to shut the fuck up and listen to me. That was beautiful. I loved it. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. Perfect. So you guys, it was amazing. It just worked out tonight. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely great session from everyone involved. And yeah, definitely go follow Johnny over at Video Store Cowboy. This show is run across 3 channels, Video Store Cowboy, Unmade Gaming, and NotSoSpeedRuns. And so make sure you can catch all of the story, because it is all interwoven, and there are clues going on and things happening in other channels that are all very connected to what's going on here. And in other ways, not very connected, like the dragons or whatever, which are still kind of connected. But yeah, today was great. CSI Metropolis is my new favorite show. The only thing that was missing was more sunglasses and puns.
There was a lot of puns tonight.
There were a good number of puns, just not enough
Looks like
sunglasses,
she
I guess.
lost her lid.
That's all we needed. So I expect fully when we come back next week for Meta to, as soon as she sees the head of Sydney White, to just drop something incredibly ridiculous.
I'm waiting for the moment where she tells Derek, "Oh, by the way, this head is down here," and he's like, "What the hell are you doing?" And he's got to be getting so close to the end of his rope with her getting that deeply involved in this shit.
No, Derek loves me too much.
And then there's all of our footprints there, even if we aren't.
Johnny's
Whatever.
sitting in a door right
And
now.
Johnny's
like,
standing
hanging
at the
out.
door,
He's
yeah.
gonna show up and he's like, "What's up, dude?
Yeah, you know, it's whatever.
You guys have been on the scene for how long, and you're now just getting down here?"
Yeah, but absolutely awesome session tonight. I am Speedy, by the way. This is my channel, NotSoSpeedRuns. You can catch me here every week for 6 and 20, and hopefully doing some other things on my channel soon. You can also catch me at PAX East this weekend if any of you lovely people are there or going to be there. Catch me tomorrow wearing a Luigi outfit. Also catch me not having this beard anymore and just having a mustache, because that's what people on Twitter decided they wanted me to do. That's Waluigi, I believe.
You're not gonna be Waluigi?
Just Luigi.
No, Waluigi.
I don't have a Waluigi costume.
You have the mustache.
No, he doesn't. Isn't it?
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
mustache.
that's the point.
Waluigi's mustache goes way far out there. Like unhumanly.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You know what?
He's
I
fun.
would.
He's a funner voice to do. Now you can just drive around the go-kart, fucking run people over, and then mad dog them as your fucking go by. Like,
Well, I did also include a promise that anytime anyone asks my name, I would reply with "I'm Luigi, #1," and so that's gonna be most of my weekend, I'm sure.
your
Does
voice
that
is
include
gonna go
police
away.
officers?
I mean, if any of them decide to ask me my name, let's hope that doesn't happen though.
Yeah.
But yeah, if any of you are at PAX East this weekend, definitely come by. And other than that, make sure you check out the 6 and 20 YouTube channel. Like Loke said, the Beyond the Mist show is on there, where we have our behind the scenes show for this, where we recap stuff and players talk about their characters, and we also talk about the City of Mist as a system and all the cool stuff on there. First episode we had was about world building and was really cool. Featured Tren, Mike, and I on the who were part of the world building team for this series that we're doing so far. So definitely go check it out. There's also a playlist there so you can watch all of the series sequentially. Also, as was mentioned, link below for the where you can buy the system, where you can buy the core rulebook and use our promo code 6 and 20 fan. Also, make sure to follow 6 and 20 on Twitter, where you can keep up with all the updates and stuff. That's 6 and 20 with an N, not an and. Other than that, I don't believe we have anything else going on, so I guess we can end this off with a raid. And if this person is still online, since I last actually checked, let me see.
Well, if they're not, and we don't do a raid, then clearly that gives Astral a chance to finish watching that first episode, doesn't it?
Correct.
God damn it.
I don't see the person online anymore, which is unfortunate. No, we can go ahead and go raid over at the Digital DM. Currently doing some NPC creation and prep stuff. Super awesome guy, does a lot of campaigns on his channel, and right now he's just doing some 5e and Starfinder prep stuff, which is always really cool to watch. So we'll go ahead and raid him, if I can get the command set up really quickly. And does anyone else have anything they want to say before we close things on?
Spunky hyenas for everyone.
What?
Yeah, what?
Spunky hyenas for everyone.
Don't let him around Meta.
That's one spunky hyena there.
She's not drunk anymore, so that she's immune to their wily ways.
But she might kill them.
No, he was a jackal, not a hyena.
Oh, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry. I forgot my own NPC.
All right, so go over to the Digital DM, show him some love, copy paste that raid command, and go show your support and go follow him because he's honestly a super awesome guy. So thank you guys.
Dig it all, I think, because he digs it all. He's the dig it all.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's the dig it all DM. All right, see you guys. Thank you so much for watching. We will catch you all next time, and as always, don't forget to take it slow. Bye.